You're just an asshole sometimes. You're so good at it. Anyway, okay. 3rd year in a row. We haven't been podcasting very well. However, 3rd year, fantasy football. Welcome back, Israel. Glad to have you back.
Glad to be here.
Oh, it's the follow-up from last year, right?
Yeah. Time to admit your fuck-ups from last year and talk about what you're going to do this year.
Excellent. Yeah.
I plan on not doing what I did last year. That's what I'm going to do.
I think we all plan on not doing what we did last year. It was ugly. Quarterbacks were horrible, I think, for most of us, half of us. Running backs didn't pan out. Running backs are still holding out.
For good reason. I think that you have to say they want to be paid justly for their contribution. And we talked about this before. They're treated not just as a running back, but also as a blocker, and they're also treated as a wide receiver. But they are getting paid as a running back. And they're asking for more money because, well, they should. They're touching the ball at least 10 times a game. What is your wide receiver, your best wide receiver? How many times are they touching the ball per game?
7, 8.
Right. If they're lucky, right?
Yeah.
But these running backs are touching at least 10 to 20 times a game as a running back. And then let's not forget the play action blocks that they got to fake. And they got to throw a block to protect the quarterback so he can make a throw down the field. So I do feel that their argument for pay is justified. And from my perspective.
There's no doubt it's justified, but here's the problem is we see it every single time. 5 years into their career, they get a big extension or a big contract, and then their production falls off. Look at Zeke Elliott. He got his big payday, and that's the lot. And now he's not even with the team anymore. I let him go. No, he just did not look.
He's with the team.
He's with a team.
Well, he's with the team. Yeah, the New England Patriots, where he will be featured every few plays. But not like he was. I mean, they gave him a big contract, and then he did not look the same. And that happens all too often, and that's why the coach or the team owners now don't want to pay these guys after 5 years. I mean, it's hard to say. Is it because they're getting older, their production is slowing down because of the nature of their job, or is it because right now they've got paid, now they're going to sit back and cruise?
No, I don't think it has anything to do with cruising. They love their job. I think what you have to think about is how many times are they on the field throwing a block, getting hit on a run, or going out for a dump-off pass, and then getting tackled. Now, your wide receivers are out there quite a bit too, and they're not getting the ball every play, but they're not getting hit every play either. And they're blocking DBs and safeties. They're not blocking linemen and linebackers. So we have to be honest that that's going to tear your body down. And you're going to pay these guys peanuts when they come out of college. They do well because they are a good running back, or also because they have a good line. I think that's the other thing. You have to have a good coach that can put you in a system to play, and you have to have a strong line. If you don't have either one of those, you're just going to get killed. But that's not just a running back. That's also a quarterback. That's also other players as far as offensive tackles and wide receivers. But given the fact that they get this small contract coming out of college, they start tearing it up. Yeah, they're ready for a big payday now. Why? Because their fucking body earned it. And then you're going to say, well, no, according to the CBA agreement, we've already agreed to these terms, so we're going to pay you very little. But we're going to give your counterpart, the wide receiver, who did very well last year, a huge contract. To me, I think that's bullshit. I think it's nickeling and diming. And when you talk about them wanting more money, that's because the market gets bigger and bigger every year, and these owners are getting more and more money every year. So, yeah, I think that they deserve a share. That's my point. What do you think, Israel?
No, I think you're right. The wear and tear that goes on a running back's body, the shelf life is already short. If they're in the league 10 years, that's amazing. We also see that drop off when they hit 30. The only one I haven't seen that happen to is King Henry. But even then, he started slow last year, and there was a lot of people freaking out about that. And then he was able to turn it on, and as the season went on. But I think that wear and tear that the running backs have to deal with, and you hit all the points, the blocking, the pass catching. They're doing a lot more than the wide receivers are, and they should be getting paid, and they want to get paid for that.
Yeah, and some of them even play on special teams. And let's also make another note. Justin Jefferson fucking stood out last year. But part of that standout, part of that is not just his natural God-given talent, but also the threat of a play-action pass with Dalvin Cook or Madison in the backfield. That's a legit threat. You go and play action pass, a linebacker drops in to hit for a tackle, Jefferson's got one less guy to cover him. Makes it easier for the receiver. So, yeah, I say show me the money. That way they can live a little bit nicer when they're needing knee surgery or back surgery down the road. Israel, you want to pull that mic a little closer to your mouth?
Sure.
They are going to have to. I mean, again, the struggle is that the production after the 5-year mark tends to go down for the running backs. Lately, we've been seeing a lot less production out of these guys after 5 years. The last one that was able to continue doing it at a high level for a long time was Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
And since then, I can't think of a running back who's just consistently put up 1,000-yard seasons, double-digit touchdowns, receptions.
King Henry.
I mean, how many though? How many?
He's way past 5 years.
How many total? I mean, yeah, he didn't run a lot in his first couple of years. I mean, he's had, I think he's only had like 3 solid seasons.
Yeah, but hasn't CMC been in the league for more than 5 years?
CMC's approached that. They're all right at that line. They're all right at that line. Like they're not yet. I mean, they're veterans, yes, but they're not yet at the point where, okay, can we look at their production and see them still maintaining, getting better, or are they going to start to the downward?
But I'll counter your 5-year shelf life on a running back. But so when it comes to tight ends and wide receivers, do they have a longer shelf life?
I would like to see what it looks like. I think so.
I don't know.
They do.
You think so?
Well, I mean, you're saying running backs should get paid more. You're saying running backs should get paid more, but really, when they come, you're replacing them every 5 years, like everybody said. And if you're doing that, that's going to be very expensive. Am I right?
Yeah, I don't know where you're going with that.
Wait.
Say something.
Like Justin Jefferson's been in the league for 4 or 5 years now?
No.
How long has he been in the league for?
Well, actually, maybe 4. This might be his 4th year.
4th year. So, again, I'll just go back to the whole, like, how long do you think wide receivers last? And they start to break down around 32 as well, 30. Tight ends, the same thing. Look at George Kittle. Fucking sensation when he came out. He's kind of, he gets hurt every year, banged up. Jimmy Graham, when he first came out, had a great campaign and the Saints, and then he floated around, and everybody's like, oh, is he going to get back to his prime? Never really did. So I would say
how many good years? I mean, he did a pretty good career. I think even with the Saints, even going back up to Seattle, he was decent, but not as good.
He wasn't the fantasy
option. Wasn't the fantasy option, right. But yeah.
But that's my argument. And then that's where Jimmy Graham made the same argument. Pay me what I'm worth because you're treating me as a tight end, but I'm more than a tight end. You're paying me as a tight end, but you're treating me like I should be a wide receiver, a blocker, and well, I mean, of course, a tight end.
Yeah, we're seeing more of those tight ends coming out, but we still don't have a large sample of those really good pass-catching tight ends that are putting up wide receiver numbers.
And I think that's a new breed, though, too.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, the tight end was literally your extra blocker.
That's right.
They caught a little pop pass or a little hook every now and again. You didn't have the tight ends that we see today, like with Gronk and
Kelsey
and Kittle. Like, you didn't have tight ends like that.
So is it a justified argument to say, oh, we'll pay him as a tight end? Probably not. If you're paying Kelsey as just a tight end, but you're expecting him to be a wide receiver, that's a bullshit argument. Then you should get tight end production, not wide receiver production. But you're not paying him. You're not expecting that from him. So pay him what you expect. That's all I'm saying. But in the end, to go back, to bring it all the way around, you said running backs, 5-year shelf life. I think tight ends and wide receivers have the same shelf life. I don't think that they have 5. I mean,
I think it's a bit longer.
I think it's longer. I mean, if we look, so Antonio Gates, Randy Moss, what you just said, Gronkowski.
Yeah, are those unicorns?
Kelsey.
Because you said Derrick Henry. We got Adrian Peterson, DeMarco Murray. So are those not the same kind of caliber guys? DeMarco Murray played for a long time.
DeMarco Murray played for a long time, but I certainly wouldn't put him on line with Adrian Peterson.
No, well, not as far as rushing, but as far as pass catching, he did very well.
He had a couple good seasons.
He did.
Yeah,
he was a
couple
fantasy,
good seasons.
Oh, you're crazy. He was a fantasy nightmare for. He was great to have on your fantasy
for
team.
2 years, and then the third year is like, okay, I'm playing him, but
wrong. For a long time. For a long time, he was that kind of guy.
I think you blur your numbers, your years.
No, I mean, he was in the league for a while. And I remember before I was even playing fantasy football, that's all the fantasy talk show hosts would talk about is DeMarco Murray. How great he was, not just as a running back, as a pass-catching running back. And, I mean, you're talking about that was 15 years ago. I mean, and who was the guy, Arian Foster, he played for the Texans?
Mm-hmm.
He had a few years, too. I just don't think it's as simple as what you're saying, 5-year shelf life. My point is, I think that their shelf life is roughly around the same. If you want to say that wide receivers maybe last two more seasons longer, fine. But I don't think that's – I think it's marginal. I don't think that's huge. And a running back makes a huge difference, huge impact on the field.
DeMarco Murray played for 7 seasons.
Okay.
Year 1 was 2011. Played 13 games, rushed 164 times for 897 yards and 2 touchdowns. The next year...
Is that just rushing, or are you also looking at all-purpose yards? Because he was one of your first pass-catching running backs, too.
He had 0 receiving touchdowns. He had... where are the receptions? Targets, receptions, 26 receptions. Okay. Next year, he rushed 161 times for 663 yards. He received 35 catches and total was 4 rushing touchdowns and 0 receiving touchdowns. If I just go down
but you keep saying, so you're saying how many times he's received the ball, but you're not saying the yardage. How many yards did he get in a receipt?
251.
Okay.
183 the first year.
183. So that's close to a 1,000-yard all-purpose season, all-purpose yard season, and that's his first 2 years coming out as a rookie. And then the next season he gets 600 and he gets 200 something yards. And you're saying the first year he's catching over 20 targets. That was only. I mean, there's only 16 games. 16 games back then. 20 targets, 20 receptions. For 16 games, that was quite a bit back then in 2011. And then you go to 30-something targets, receptions the following year. That's a lot. What I'm trying to tell you is he was a guy that was around for a long time. And when fantasy's been around for a while. But when I was first starting to hear about fantasy and listening to it on the radio out of Jacksonville, they were talking about DeMarco Murray left and right because the touchdowns make a big difference. They really do. But when it comes to running back, it's a lot about the receptions, the yardage, and the touches. Especially
in our league with the PPR.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
A pass-catching running back is valuable.
And at the time, and I remember this left and right, Adrian Peterson was a big deal then. But DeMarco Murray mattered more so for fantasy than Adrian Peterson. Especially because, and I love Adrian Peterson. I was always an Adrian Peterson guy. You guys know that. Adrian Peterson would have like a 1,000-yard year 1 year. Next year, he got hurt. Out for the year. Following year, another 1,000-yard season. Next year, hurt. DeMarco Murray got hurt towards the end of his career. But, he did well. And he was loved by fantasy. You won with him, too.
Yeah.
As well as I did. Cowboys?
He bounced around for a while.
DeMarco Murray?
Yeah.
Played with the Cowboys for 4 years.
and then he bounced around.
Then he went to the Eagles,
That's right.
and then he played 2 seasons in Tennessee.
And I picked him up when he played for the Eagles, and on a really shitty team. That was the first year that I played fantasy with you guys, and I won. And he was a big part of that, a huge part.
He had 702 rushing yards, 6 touchdowns on the ground, 322 receiving yards on 45 catches, 55 targets, and 1 touchdown through the air.
On a Chip Kelly offense.
Mm-hmm.
So
certainly, so total yards, 1,024. Total touchdowns was 7. Again, I mean, that's good. That's definitely, you're playing that guy. I wouldn't say that's Christian McCaffrey good.
No, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that I think the wide receivers and the tight ends have just as long as a shelf life as a running back. And I feel that the running back's responsibility, they're doing 3 different jobs. And if it's, you could easily say a great wide receiver also makes it easier on a running back, because the threat of a Justin Jefferson out of the backfield allows space for a Dalvin Cook and a Madison. But if you go back and you look at the threat of a play action pass, what that does for the slot receiver or someone on the outside who's got blazing speed, it opens up the whole field. So if you're going to pay them, if you're going to expect them to perform 3 different ways, you better pay them the 3 different ways.
Especially if they're producing.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to need to either do something to reward these guys as they do well early. I think that's what they've got to do. They've got to pay. They've got to have more incentive. I think across the league, there should be more incentive-based pay. You want these guys to perform, pay them when they perform. You want these guys to play a long time? Okay, well, they've got to stay healthy enough to play a long time. They've got to get paid while they're there. But you can't have them running out of juice because you've either already run them into the ground or whatever the case may be. But again, these guys will look great in their first 5 years when they come out into the league and they're trying to prove something, and they still want to get that guaranteed contract. And then after that, the play declines almost every time. There are exceptions. There are superstars that just continue to shine and play well, and those are unicorns, yes. But increasing the bonuses for big plays and big production, I think would make a big difference in these guys.
I like that. I love that idea. I like that incentive-based pay. You go
guaranteed pay plus bonuses.
Yeah, you go out there and you crush it. You're guaranteed. So if you get hurt, you're not out on your ass. You do really, really well. And maybe that's the future. Maybe that's the next CBA. Is that okay? You don't have to pay them that much up front,
right?
But let's pay them for the production they're putting out there. That makes a whole hell of a lot of sense to me, especially if it's supposed to be a meritocracy. But anyway, I just think they should be paid what they're worth. And I want to say something else. We can change the game as much as we want. At the end of the day, what wins championships? Defense. And a running game. If you can't run the fucking ball and you don't have defense, you're not going to win that game. Let's just be honest.
I want to point out here real quick that DeMarco Murray played 7 seasons. I pulled up Adrian Peterson. Do you know how many seasons he played?
Did he play like 11?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
12. I'm so proud
13,
of you. You can
14, 15.
15 seasons?
I think Isreal whispered it over there. 15.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. 15 seasons. Doubled.
Wow.
Doubled them.
Sure.
Doubled them.
Sure.
Now, they weren't all that great a season, but 2018 he rushed for 1,000 yards. We'd have to add him up.
The guy almost broke the single season rushing record.
He did, yeah.
The guy's a fucking monster.
Yeah.
And when he came out of college, I never understood why he wasn't in the top 5 for the first round pick. And a lot of it was about his character, even though he didn't have any character flaws. It was just more about his dad, Mm-hmm. But he also came around, or at least towards the end of his career, when football was transitioning from a rushing running back, touch-dependent running back, to the receiving running back. And so I think, 15 years.
He had
The guy's a
43
beast.
catches in his third season.
Yeah, he was learning how to catch.
He had 19, 21, 43, 36, 18, 40, 29.
He was criticized towards the end of his career about catching. Too bad he can't catch the ball. Too bad he can't catch the ball. But then he started
Never
picking it up.
needed to.
But Derrick Henry is in the same boat.
Yeah.
They had to bring in a younger running back because they want somebody to throw to. And that's King Henry. Now, King Henry's getting better at that. But if you have to choose a King Henry or a Nick Chubb or a CMC, what do you think an owner is going to choose? Or a GM is going to choose?
You're going to want that more versatile back.
Right.
So,
And fuck the shelf life because, you'll 5 years from now, you'll get another guy that's similar, right?
If you can.
Yeah, if you can, right?
It's not going to be likely to get something like that. Especially in the draft.
You're talking about another Derrick Henry. You gotta speak.
No, I'm talking about another CMC. You're not going to. Maybe 10 years. Not right after you let him go.
You think he's a generational player?
Not necessarily generational, but doesn't come around as much.
I think that it is unlikely for, let's say, the Carolina Panthers to pick up another Christian McCaffrey right now after they let him go. Now, that doesn't mean that the Cowboys won't find a Christian McCaffrey. Somebody will find a running back that'll do that, but it's not going to be likely that the same team gets another guy that's as good as the one they had. They are rare. They are rare.
He's a real special unicorn because he's a white running back.
That is true.
it's true.
I know I'm going to probably get killed on that, but come on.
Hate letters, bring them on,
Yeah.
send them in.
But, the guy can play for sure. All right, let's go on to, do you need to mention, Israel, do you want to mention any of your fuck-ups from last year? Like, what is it that you said you won't do?
All
one
of them.
more thing. Hey, Mike, you're probably not going to watch this, but we got your book. I love it. My son's has taken it from me. He's going to read it first, apparently. But next time we see you, I'm going to have to bring you on. We're going to have to talk about your book a little bit more, and I'm going to need to get your autograph. But anyway, Israel, talk about your fuck-up.
Well, last year I went heavy on running backs, I think, and those running backs got hurt, and that killed me because my wide receivers weren't all that great. So I had a rough season, to put it mildly. That's why I'm picking third later today.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'll do you one better. I'm picking two. I had a disastrous draft. And I counted on people that I thought were going to be amazing. Russell Wilson, talking to you. It was terrible. And then I had picked up DeAndre, hoping that he'd come in at halfway mark and save me for save the day. But it didn't happen. So thank God I picked up a lot of those young receivers and a young running back. But it was, oh man, I don't know. I went to my typical strategy, and I just picked the wrong guys. I feel like.
How'd you do?
I landed one step off the podium in fourth place, but I think I played a little quarterback carousel through the season. Leonard Fournette I picked in the second round. He didn't really turn out. He had a couple good games in the beginning, but then that was it. A lot of guys. I knew I had Justin Jefferson and Cooper Kupp, and I just was waiting for Cooper Kupp to get hurt. I knew it was going to happen, and it did, and that was ultimately the end. Without him bookending the wide receiver room.
But look at everything. Like we go back to the running back talk. Look at everything he's doing. He's getting so many touches.
Right. Yep.
It's just bound to happen.
There's not enough talent on the Rams to give him enough rest or to not funnel everything through him. He was the only thing they did for a long time.
But your Leonard Fournette was definitely a better pick than my David Montgomery. Oh, that guy killed me. Between him and Russell Wilson, I couldn't score any points.
Yep.
And I picked Montgomery a lot, and I didn't last year because I knew he's not the coach's guy. We talked about that earlier, off off mic, but I could tell he wasn't the coach's guy, and they hadn't been playing him the way they should have been the year before. And I knew they were high on was it Khalil Herbert?
Yeah.
I could tell they were high on him, so I kind of.
It would have been nice for you to share that with me before, especially after.
That's why I don't like doing this before the draft, because I'm trying to be tight-lipped, but also,
Well, David Montgomery, I watched him the 2 years prior, and you're right. They didn't run him a lot, but they gave him the ball more. Those, before last year, and he did well. He'd had games where he scored 2-3 touchdowns in a game, and then breaking 100 yards. So I was like, okay, who else do they have? They don't have anybody else. Khalil's a small guy, and this is his third year now. So it was like his second year last year. And then Fields is coming off an injury. So I'm like, they're going to run it, right? And why wouldn't you? David Montgomery wasn't that bad. Yeah, no.
The line wasn't very good, though.
Killed me. No. Fields also ran more than him. I think Fields probably ended up with more yards than he did.
Well, as a young quarterback, that's what they tend to do, especially if they're a running quarterback in their, early on. They'd rather pull it down and run with it themselves because they don't trust themselves to throw it. So that's why Fields ran so much, I think, because if he didn't like it, he would just keep it and run.
Perfect segue then. Let's go into quarterbacks first, right? Top of the draft. I mean, no, not draft, but top slot to fill. Okay. Nobody fills quarterbacks first thing, but when we're talking about Fields, is Fields going to be the new Jalen Hurts?
No.
And does Hurts stay atop? Go ahead. What were you saying?
No. Justin Fields, I'm going to be surprised if they don't put him at running back. Jalen Hurts is going to be top 3, definitely.
You think so?
Justin Fields is going to be like top 50. No.
Top 50? There's only 32 teams.
I know. I'm including backup.
Right now, Justin Fields is ranked 56.
I'm sorry, Fields.
For quarterback.
So he's out. No, for overall.
Overall.
Jesus, 56 quarterback.
Well, so he's saying he's good as a running back, but he's going to be in the top 50 for quarterbacks, you said? Because you think he's going to get hurt? And the backups are going to come in?
No,
it's just...
There's 32 teams. He's going to be in the top 50 for quarterbacks. That's guaranteed. Overall.
Including backups.
That's what he's just saying. He's saying he's not a top 32 quarterback. That's what he's trying to say.
No, top 32.
Okay, anyway. I think Fields is going to have a good year.
He's got receivers. He's got weapons.
Now he does. Last year he didn't have much, right? And I think that Ohio State boy will start to – and I think it's a big difference. He's the first quarterback coming out of Ryan Day. I think Ryan Day, if you watch college football, which I love to do, you can see the progression of his quarterbacks and a pro-style offense, reading defenses, making decisions, keeping plays alive, directing his wide receivers. I mean, shit, Fields did it in the championship game. Did it against Clemson, And so I think Fields is going to get better. But I think you're right. Second year, doesn't have much to go to. Where am I going to go? I'm going to have to take off. And I think, I'll be honest with you, I want to know if this is true. Is he not the fastest guy of all the quarterbacks? Because he sure in the hell looked like he was the fastest quarterback.
Yeah, he definitely looked like it.
Yeah, he had it like way faster than Lamar Jackson, in my opinion. But I don't know. Jackson's a little smoother. I don't know. I can't say. They're both fast.
What about Donnie Dimes up there in the New York Giants? Isn't he the fastest running quarterback?
Or the smoothest.
So, and then talk about players who get paid. Mahomes gets $200 million for 10 years, right? Oh God, that's don't pay your running backs. But hey, Herbert, how about $262 million for 5 years? Like, okay, but he's not going to get that shit done if he doesn't have Austin Eckler in the back. Anyway, I digress. I think I still think he's a good quarterback. But I was doing this. I think Joe, I shared this with you. We looked at the comparison between him and Tua Tagovailoa. Tua gets all this expectation and all the scrutiny that comes with it, and Herbert has some expectation, but I don't think he gets scrutinized very much. And if you look at their stats, they're pretty similar. And I think Herbert does. I can't remember now, but they're pretty similar. I want to say Tua almost edges him out a little bit.
Did they come into the league at the same time?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
same
Oh.
draft.
I thought Hobert has been around for an extra year or two. I didn't realize that. Oh, but Tua was hurt his first year, right? He didn't.
Well,
Wasn't his knee or something?
No, he wasn't hurt. He
been-
was. They were transitioning him behind Fitzpatrick,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
and
okay.
and I forget the Flores. Flores wanted to draft Herbert, and there was a disagreement with the management as far as Herbert was concerned. So they went with Tua. But if you look at their stats, it's a marginal difference between the two. But who gets all the love? Who gets all the scrutiny, as the media will do?
Love goes to the guy who can stay on the field and finish the season. He got hurt a little bit. Herbert got hurt a little bit last year, but he played through like broken ribs and didn't play as well while his ribs were broken. But the more they healed, the better he got.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's nitpicking. I think also the coaching staff manages Herbert better. I'll say this over and over again. When Miami put Tua back in after that concussion on a short week, concussed on a Sunday, and he never even said that he was, right? He was trying to like be professional, save his team, his coaching staff, save face with them. Gets concussed on a Sunday, they play him on a fucking Thursday, and he gets hit again. Your chances of being concussed increases substantially. And sure enough, now he's out for a while. Now they're like, oh, I don't think he should come back. He should probably think about retiring because he gets hurt too often. Is that really him, or is that the fault of the management and the coaching staff? They let that kid down. But when you look at their stats, they're pretty damn similar. And Herbert gets all the love. Tua gets nothing but like scrutiny. And who got paid? And and who is being told that you should think about retirement?
And then you gotta look at the differences between their two offensive lines. I mean, look at the Dolphins' offensive line for a second. They're just flat out worst 5 offensive lines in the league.
Bums. They're bums.
Those are big guys. I'm not saying any of that.
We live a little too close.
we have run into them. He said it. I just wanted to point that out. I think Tua will have a good year. I think he'll have a good year. I think Herbert will have a good year. I think they both have an established team. They both have a bunch of weapons. It's all about who can stay healthy.
I like to see them play against each other in the playoffs.
That would be cool, wouldn't it?
Settle this argument right now in 17 weeks.
What about, okay, let's stay in Florida for a little bit. Baker won the job because Kyle Trask, and I think Kyle Trask has talent, but I don't think he was ever developed in college. And I don't think he was able to be developed in Tampa. But I don't see him ever taking a starting position unless Baker gets hurt. And so I'm not too high on Baker as a Tampa boy. No, you guys aren't high.
I think it's going to go similar to what we saw in Cleveland. Ups and downs.
Well, I don't think he was that bad.
It wasn't that bad. I like him. I like Baker. I'd like to see him do well. I always did.
Well, he's got weapons on offense still, so hopefully he can use them. All right. One person I think is going to make a huge jump, and I'm going to say it officially, and I've said it before. I think that Lawrence will jump to the Mahomes level under Doug Peterson this year, if not this year, by next year. He is going to make a huge transition this year. And he's got weapons now, and he's got the second year with Peterson. I think I think he's going to live up to the expectations that everybody had for him when he came into the draft.
That's a bold prediction.
That's what I do.
I think he's good, and I think he will make that jump. And I think he's going to be an excellent quarterback through his career. Mahomes level, that's...
How many quarterbacks are Mahomes level?
Mahomes.
Well,
you've got Mahomes.
But you wouldn't put Josh Allen up there with Mahomes?
I would put Josh Allen up there. I think Josh Allen is that good. I want to see it again from Jalen Hurts before I put him on that line.
What about your Herbert, your boy Herbert?
Herbert?
Yeah, is he close to that?
No.
Not yet?
Nope. Now, so what I think what I would say is, yeah, Trevor Lawrence will have a better year, a standout year, a breakout year. I would say maybe more like a Aaron Rodgers type of look and feel. He's going to put up touchdowns and numbers and yards and wins, hopefully. But he's not going to look like Mahomes. He's not going to do what Mahomes does. Is he going to throw 5 touchdowns? He might throw 5 touchdowns in one game. Okay. Or, I mean, did Mahomes do 7?
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, throwing 5 touchdowns and rushing for 2 touchdowns, or let's say throwing 3, rushing for 2. I don't think he's going to do that.
My boy Sunshine,
regularly.
Trevor Lawrence. We're going to call him Sunshine from now on. All right. Remember
Where
the
did you
Titans.
pick that
Remember
up?
the Titans.
Remember the Titans.
Do you just apply that to him, or did you hear somebody else
Oh.
call him Sunshine, or where did you come up with this?
When we were in Jacksonville doing some strength and conditioning, my boy Jerry and Sanders, shout out to Sanders. I think he's the one that first said it. He said, "Oh, Sunshine," because we saw him playing baseball too, and you could tell the kid was a monster. So yeah, we just he looked like Sunshine. Remember the Titans had came out not that long ago.
Okay,
So we call him Sunshine.
so
And it's fitting because he plays for a Florida team, and Jacksonville needs the sunshine.
You saw him, Trevor Lawrence, way back when you were in Jacksonville.
Yeah. I was like,
What was he?
before PT school?
Yeah, what was
Right
he like?
before.
6?
No. Thanks.
I
Anyway,
mean, you've been
the league
here.
game you saw?
You've been here for 10 years.
right. Yeah, this was like I was in my early to mid 20s.
When you guys
20 years ago.
25 years old.
It's over 20. Yeah, it's 20 years ago.
So it'd have been 15 or less.
Yeah. This is way
Call
back
it
when.
12.
I don't know how old he is right now, but it was way back when. And Jerry and Sanders is the one that Saunders is the one that brought that to my attention originally. But he was in the business of identifying people that had the skill and the talent, and working with. I mean, we were training athletes back then, and so that's where I got to meet a lot of the pros that I got to train with. But my point is when I say, is he going to look like Mahomes? I don't mean like Mahomes. Like Mahomes has that shortstop style, baseball, like football approach. When I say that, I mean like Trevor Lawrence is going to move up to the Mahomes upper echelon.
He's going to make it.
He's
going to
be up there.
The elite quarterback.
He'll be up there. He'll be up there in the top 5 with your Allen, with your Herbert, with your. I don't know if Wilson's going to be up there anymore, but he'll be up there in the upper echelon. And I think Christian Kirk is a good receiver. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's a marquee guy that Calvin Ridley is. And Calvin Ridley's coming off 2 years fresh. Now he's getting some weapons. Travis Etienne is his 3rd year. Last year he was healthy. They've got McNasty in the backfield. We'll talk about that in a second, but. My point is there's going to be more weapons. And under Doug Peterson, who was a protege of Andy Reid and uses analytics to his favor, will help develop Trevor Lawrence to that upper echelon that Mahomes is currently enjoying. That's my point.
So you're going to take him in the 3rd round, you say?
You never know when you need a little sunshine. I'll just say that.
Right. That sounds like a 1st round pick right there.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a baller for sure. Okay, so is Bryce Young the guy in Carolina? Is he going to be as good as everybody thinks he's going to be?
I have no idea. I haven't seen him play at all.
He might actually be decent. He's looked pretty good. Again, I think it is going to come down to these quarterbacks. These younger quarterbacks have that ability to pull the ball down and run when they're in trouble or when things just don't look right. It's just having that sense to do it and not try to force the ball.
Is he that fast?
He's pretty fast.
Is he?
I think.
I don't trust it. I'll tell you why. We talked about it last year. What school did he go to? Alabama. And I don't think, when I look back at Saban's career, there's not a lot of quarterbacks that he generates that comes to the pros. You have Mac Jones and the Patriots. For whatever reason, the Patriots a little concerned about him. Mm-hmm. And then you got Tua, who you would arguably say is probably the most accomplished Alabama quarterback right now. So, and Bryce Young's smaller. The guy I think that's going to be a good quarterback, not this year. I think it's going to take him about 3 years. He's going to follow a similar trajectory as Justin Fields.
Trey Lance.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I was going to say Stroud. CJ Stroud. Did you guys see how pissed off he was when he got picked in the draft?
No, I didn't see that.
He's got a fucking chip on his shoulder. He's like, I'm going to show you why I am the number one quarterback to be taken. The question is he in a good system that will help work with him and develop him and use his talents? But I think you give him 2-3 years, I think he's going to look like a solid quarterback. And he's every bit as fast as Fields. Whether that matters or not, I don't think it will. But and again, he comes out of Ryan Day's system. So I'm putting a lot of stock in Ryan Day, but I think Stroud will be a good quarterback in 3 years from now.
Hey, isn't that funny that I was the one telling you about that? You were going for Bryce Young the weeks leading up to the draft.
Ooh.
That's not
Yes, you
true.
were. Yes, you were. Yes, you were.
The truth comes out.
You started to go to Will Levis.
I don't know about Will Levis
you say
yet.
he's going to be decent.
I think Will Levis may be decent. He's playing in Tennessee right now, and I think Tennessee's looking to see if he's going to be the heir apparent to Tannehill, because Malik Willis doesn't look like he's going to be. All right, he's been struggling pretty bad. All right, so is there another quarterback that we want to talk about besides Danny Jones?
Mike White.
Mike White. Every year.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Where's he at now?
Miami.
Oh shit.
Oh,
Okay.
I don't think he's too bad.
Okay.
Let's move on to
I
Mac
agree.
Jones.
So is it fair to say that we will be seeing Mike White this year
Yes.
when Tua inevitably goes down?
Yeah.
Yep.
He knows how to use his weapons. We saw it in New York.
Am I I'm the only
this
like
kid.
guy that's like sticking my neck out for Tua, and these two fuckers who are Dolphin fans are talking about him getting hurt. Tua, I think you're a good guy. Don't listen to your those fair weather Dolphin fans.
Hey, what I saw, I don't know if you saw the game or after the game, Tua was, there were some comments that Ryan Clark made about Tua and his physique and something about not going to the gym and the dinner table. I don't know. Did you guys hear about that?
So I heard not that. I heard the opposite. There was an article that came out. Maybe this is the response, but Tua has been busting his balls to get into shape now, and he's doing jujitsu. They purposely
gained weight or put on weight.
He put on muscle, right?
Oh yeah.
He put on muscle. But he purposely did jujitsu so he could learn how to fall without getting hurt and scramble. Yeah. And he's Hawaiian. BJ Penn is next door. Football doesn't work out. Watch out, USC.
I mean, I think the Dolphins' offense, they got everything they need, but their offensive line is great if they will live up to that. But I think it's just the penalties. Like every game that I see at least 5 penalties in a row, I feel like, by the offensive line. They go back 3rd and 20, and then they just turn it over.
I think you bring up a good point about the offensive line. The quarterback's only as good as the protection he has around him. But that being said, does Jalen Hurts, does he remain in the top 3 this year?
Yes. Yes, he does.
I think he might be top 10. I don't know. Philly lately in the last few years is, for me, it's hard because of the running back situation.
Hold on a sec.
But
it's an upgrade in running back.
No, I agree.
I think.
But it's like by committee. Like they've got 3 running backs running around. Then you got Jalen Hurts running around.
And you got 2 electrifying receivers to throw to and a tight end that is every bit as good as Zach Ertz was back in the day.
Yeah.
Sirianni's got a team, man.
Yeah.
I don't see them. You think they crashed down from the Super Bowl a bit?
Yeah, I think
Super Bowl hangover. It's a real thing. Also, I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier. Tua Tagovailoa, the number 1 or the best, most accomplished Alabama quarterback. Where did Jalen Hurts play most of his
Nick
career?
Saban.
Most of his college career.
Oh, you know what?
Oh, that's right.
That's right. But are you going to credit
Jalen
that?
Hurts.
Yeah. Are you going to credit Saban for that? Because he did.
I don't think I would. No, because he kept him in the pocket, didn't let him run out like he's good at.
Oh, he's become a better thrower.
He's all around.
He's a better passer now.
Mhm.
He can read the defense, and it doesn't hurt to have AJ Brown and Devontae Smith,
Right.
And a Goddard. But I want to stop you right there when you talk about Alabama and Nick Saban. He didn't leave Alabama to get into the draft. He left Oklahoma.
Mhm.
Oklahoma has a history of putting out good quarterbacks.
They do.
I would like to think that Baker Mayfield proves my point.
Hey, let's cross our fingers.
So when I say Alabama quarterback, I'm not putting Jalen Hurts in that window. And I'll tell you right now, I don't think Jalen Hurts would put himself in that category either.
You're probably right.
I think he's going to say, I had to, scrape and scratch and claw my way out of Alabama's closet just to play somewhere else. And then I had to do that very same thing in the NFL behind a quarterback who everybody thought was going to be the next Aaron Rodgers, Carson Wentz, who can't find a starting job. I think Jalen Hurts has that chip, and I love players that have chips on their shoulders. That's why I thought Adrian Peterson was going to be good, because you could see the chip on his shoulder. Russell Wilson had a chip on his shoulder. Aaron Rodgers had a chip on his shoulder. Slipped in the draft, gets picked up. Not only gets picked up to Green Bay behind one of the all-time greats in Brett Favre, but has to sit 5 years on the bench waiting for his time to come, knowing that he's losing precious years. How many more accomplishments would he have or not have if he played earlier? But my point is, I would not put Jalen Hurts in that category. Jalen Hurts is a success story because of him, despite going to Alabama.
I want to know what happened to Gardner Minshew. He was doing good in Jacksonville. Besides all the other stuff that happened, I feel like he's a good quarterback. But I mean,
he wasn't sunshine.
I know, but when he went to the Eagles, I feel like he just
he's a good. Again, we got to talk about value when we come to the draft. He's a good backup. He's not a starter. He's not consistent. He's always going to go 9 for 17.
Well, I know.
Two touchdowns and an interception. He's probably your throwback 1970s, and he looks it.
And with the
right.
Man stash there,
the cutoff and the mullet.
Yeah,
he's your original. He's your gunslinger, and those gunslingers throw a lot of interceptions. Today's game is different. You can't be a gunslinger just to be a gunslinger. You can't just throw an interception every game. And the people that do, Kirk Cousins is a traditional quarterback, and every year Minnesota fans want to say, "Get the hell out of here." I know we gave you a bunch of money, and he's a good quarterback. But they don't want the gunslingers. They want somebody like a Josh Allen, like a Jalen Hurts, like a Patrick Mahomes or a Russell Wilson. They want somebody that can move, that's mobile, that can throw and throws like an Aaron Rodgers, who doesn't throw a lot of interceptions.
I was just talking about his years in Jacksonville. I think he did decent.
Yeah, you need to get out of here with that.
So
go
go ahead. I was just going to say for Jalen Hurts, I won't say that he takes a step back, but I think he's going to be cooled off a little bit. I don't think he finishes top 3 in the quarterbacks. I'll give him maybe 5th in the quarterbacks. I think we're going to see Mahomes and Allen at the top 2. Maybe your boy Sunshine gets in there for top 5.
Okay, I think Sunshine comes up. I think the Kansas City Chiefs, I think they take a step back, Super Bowl hangover kind of thing too with them. Not too much of a step down.
Not too much, no.
But I think Jalen Hurts, I'm going to go with the trend. Every time somebody says, yeah, we're not expecting much from him, he surprises everybody. And with that team with Sirianni, they didn't lose very many players this year. I think they're only going to get stronger. And so I'm going to keep them up there. If not, it's tough when you go from top 3. But I think that no way to show this, but I think they're better than the Bills.
And I think if they keep doing what they did last year, putting together long drives and just tiring out the defense, they'll have a successful year just like last year.
And they moved up in running back in DeAndre Swift. Okay, let's go. We got to finish this discussion or keep going with this discussion, but we got to talk about Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
Israel was about to say something
Well, that's where I was going to go.
Oh, perfect.
I was going to go Aaron Rodgers because I think the Jets this offseason have made moves upon moves upon moves, and getting Aaron Rodgers, I think, is huge. I hate it because he went to the Jets, and I have to talk about them now. But picking up Cook, and I know you guys aren't huge on Cook.
No, I liked Cook. I wanted Cook in Miami.
I love Cook.
Now I don't want Cook to do good at all.
Yeah.
I just want to point out, Israel, when was the last time the Patriots were in the bottom of that division?
It's been a bit.
And it all started with losing Tommy Boy.
Tom, yeah.
All started with that.
Yeah.
Belichick should have checked his fucking ego at the door, said, you know what? I needed him just as much as he needed me.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably would have rode that wave a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But I think the Jets, with picking up Aaron Rodgers, they're getting a solid, smart, and experienced quarterback that is going, I think that's going to pay off. And then picking up Cook to help Hall kind of be the backup there and share those carries between the two of them to keep them healthy. And the defense has almost always been good, but when they're playing from behind, they're just getting slammed.
Young receivers, talented tight end, stacked in the backfield. Zonovan Knight is a legitimate running back. He is, and he hasn't even emerged yet. Wait until he breaks through behind Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall, and then you've got Carter. Carter's legit too. I like Saleh. I think Saleh is a very good coach. And where did he come from? San Francisco, defensive coordinator.
Yep.
Took the job in New York. You know who else took a job the following year? McDaniels, Mike McDaniels, in Miami. And you see those two teams all of a sudden. You thought that the Miami was coming up. They lose Flores. You're like, shit. Miami fans are like, you were like, shit. There we go again. We're going to drop down. All of a sudden, because we don't know anything about Mike McDaniels. Remember that? And all of a sudden, they're just even better, far better actually, with in half the period of time. So those two coaches are solid. And Saleh, they got one of the strongest, if not possibly even the strongest defense in the league, with a savvy quarterback. Who, may I mention, he's only going to be around at most, 2 to 5 years? What is he going to offer to Zach Wilson? It's my belief, I don't think Rodgers is a selfish person at all. I love him. I love his personality. And I would leave my wife for him, just so you know.
Better not tell mom that.
That's right.
It's a good thing she doesn't listen to the podcast.
Yeah, thank God she doesn't listen. But I think Jordan Love is going to be way better than what people think. I think he's going to be a very good quarterback. And I think a lot of that has to do with Aaron Rodgers, with the mentoring that Aaron Rodgers provided. I think Zach Wilson will also grow. And that's what I think is interesting. Number 1 draft pick for the Jets. Didn't handle it, didn't do well the first 2 years there. They bring in Rodgers because they want to win now. And I feel like, at least maybe it's because I'm a Hard Knocks fan, I feel like Zach Wilson is getting this treasure trove of knowledge on how to be a more effective, efficient, better quarterback than almost anybody else could get. And due to Aaron Rodgers.
If he's getting effective knowledge and effective wisdom from Aaron Rodgers, then who is going to get the Aaron Rodgers dick pics? So we've seen this before where the Jets picked up a quarterback from the Green Bay Packers who comes in there, throws the ball around, and then all of a sudden, ladies in the office are getting dick pics from Brett Favre.
I forgot all about that. I was wondering where you were going with this, and I totally forgot about that.
I'd almost immediately ask for an autograph of the dick pic. Because, there's only got to be a couple of them, right? So imagine their value.
Well, who knows? Apparently Favre, he was up to all kinds of no good.
Well, and he also played for Minnesota, so let's not forget. So does that trend?
Yeah, right? So
Kirk,
I
you
just
better
wonder.
get on it.
I thought we were talking about football.
Yeah, I did too.
Dick pics and football are synonymous.
And
Welcome to the locker room.
Kirk is a religious guy, so I'm not sure he's going to send anybody dick pics.
Well, Kirk's not going to, no. But Rodgers, who knows? He's out there sun bleaching his asshole, right?
I think that's the rumor, but Rodgers, forget about these two assholes over here, man. No, he's legit. All right, so I think the Jets, to your point, are going to succeed, and they're going to succeed because they went out and they got players that are highly efficient and effective, and some of the greatest players as of right now in this time of football era, if not of all time, right? And it started with Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
Legitimate. What do you say to that, Mr. Miami?
I do not want to see the Jets. Unfortunately, we've got to see them twice this year. I think they are going to be I think they're going to be a really good team.
And this is another reason, part of a reason, why I think you'll see not a decline in Josh Allen, but a drop back in the Bills. You have to remember they lost 2 running backs.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't really gain anything during the offseason. A couple of rookies. So I don't know. I don't think they're going to be up in the top 3 or top 5 for the AFC. But again, I had a shitty draft last year. I'm picking 2 this year.
I do think the Bills are going to be just fine. Although I did hear some mummering, some talk, low quiet talk about Stephon Diggs.
Oh, he's not
doesn't
happy.
Really want to be there, which I said several weeks ago to somebody. Like, yeah, Diggs is great until he doesn't want to play for your team anymore, and here he goes. With that, I would be more concerned about than the running back situation.
And do they have another wide receiver they've brought in to complement Diggs that is just as much of a threat? Or how about tight end? Or how about running back? James Cook is going to be a good running back. I just don't know if he's going to be in the top 10.
Yeah, I don't know if they need him to be. They've done just fine. Well, I say just fine, but they haven't made a Super Bowl. But they've done really well without outstanding play from their running backs.
Well, you say that, but at the end of last year, Devin Singletary was starting to run, was really effective, and he was running the ball well, opening up the passing game.
Mm-hmm.
And let's not forget, Josh Allen hasn't had to be a runner like he was in the beginning of his career.
I think that if they don't make a big move within 2 years, or I think they're just going to slowly decline.
Yeah, their window's closing. You're definitely right about that. They've got to win soon, or it's going to pass them by.
And it's not Josh Allen. I'll be complete. I think Josh Allen's very good. I think their window's closing because they're not putting the weapons around him to help. That's my point, especially in a division now that's that much stronger. You have an emerging Miami team that beat them one out of 2 times last year. Okay, arguably could have beaten them twice. Okay,
Almost.
if Tua was healthy.
If it weren't for the snowballs.
From the fans? Yeah. That's just
Buffalo.
I thought they beat him in Buffalo, didn't they?
No.
So
I think they won in Miami, lost in Buffalo.
And then lost in the playoffs in Buffalo.
But you have an emerging team that's now been together for 2 years.
Yeah.
So they should be that much better, Miami.
Yeah.
Then you have a team with all the expectations in the world in the Jets. And then it's never easy.
It's going to take
Buffalo
them a little bit. It's going to take the Jets a little bit to get it all together, but I think they will. I think the Bills will also be fine. Will be good. You're probably, outside of Diggs and Allen, you're probably not going to have a whole lot of fantasy studs from the Bills. Whereas the Jets, you're going to have a slew potentially.
I think Cook will be a good bench player, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fine if you like playing the bench guys, but I'm trying to win championships over here.
What about so let's stick there. We talked about Jones a little bit. I don't need to talk about him anymore. I don't feel like I need to talk about the quarterback for the Commanders, mainly because I don't know who it is. I think it's Wolford, right?
No, it's dang it.
Heinke?
Yeah, isn't it? It's a weird last name.
Yeah, go draft that guy, Israel.
Yeah.
But what about Dax? We alluded to Trey Lance earlier. How about, is the window for Dax now closed?
Dax is it's gonna be I think the rest of his career, unless he proves it wrong, is gonna be like the beginning of his career. It's gonna be injury one season. It's just gonna be a bunch of injuries, and it's not gonna pan out good for him.
I feel bad for Dax.
I do too.
I feel bad. Now, that's not to say that he doesn't have weapons, and he had a great offensive line. I think Dax, he's a quarterback that I think developed in the pros more so than he did in college. Because that same coaching style was a branch off of Urban Meyer. And I think nothing against Urban Meyer. I just think that those type of coaches, Jimbo Fisher, they're better at identifying talent and using talent in their system as opposed to developing the talent, especially at quarterback particularly. So for me, I don't know about Dax, but now you had Jones he didn't even talk to Dax. Didn't even tell Dax what he was going to do. The moment that Trey Lance is available, Jones reaches out and trades for him. I don't know what that says, but if you're Prescott, you're thinking to yourself, what the hell? Am I being Tony Romo?
I mean, it's possible. I mean, what he should do, his mindset should be, is to have a great year so he can go and where he wants next year.
Force a trade.
Yeah. Or at the very least make himself valuable enough where people are going to want him if they're going to do that to him.
It's too bad that him and Zeke didn't peak at the same time.
Oh, yeah. Too bad.
Well, I feel like they had a year.
Poor Cowboys.
They did.
Where they were, and then I think that's when Zeke started getting hurt, and then he came back, and then the whole foot thing, and then the hand thing.
They still had they still had Pollard too, but they had CeeDee Lamb and they had Amari Cooper. So yeah.
Did Gallup, would he be considered a bust for Dallas?
I don't know. I think that's a good question.
No, I think he's one level below CeeDee Lamb. He's not a bust, but he's a good wide receiver.
All right, I got to ask this question. I think we pretty much all agree on Dax. Derek Carr. Does he revive his career?
No.
Because I got Chris Olave as my keeper, and I was talking about this earlier. The only reason I drafted him in the 14th round last year, 14 out of 17 rounds, right? Pretty good value for the projections that he's expected to have this year. My only drawback is the guy that's throwing the ball. Because I remember drafting Amari Cooper. I was like, yeah, Amari Cooper's going to have a breakout season. And he looked like a bust. People were like, he's got to be the problem. So they trade him. He goes to Dallas. And all of a sudden he blows it up. He blows up. And then they trade him to Cleveland. And he hasn't been as great, but he's nothing like he was when he played for Vegas. He's still a good pick.
Amari Cooper might be one of those guys that we're looking at and we say, yeah, we thought this was a great wide receiver. We were expecting big numbers. We started to see some, but then they faded off. And what are we going to see this season? We don't know. We'll probably have a better idea when the season's over.
You think he's faded off?
I kind of do. Yeah. I think we've probably seen the best of Amari Cooper.
I think it's unfair. We have to come back to that because that was another quarterback I wanted to talk about. I think it's unfair to say that because I honestly have to say, aside from Devontae Adams, name another receiver, not tight end, receiver who is electrifying with Derek Carr.
I really like Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah, I like him too.
But he's a slot. I mean, we're talking, Devontae Adams is that outside guy.
Renfrow, though, is not blazing speed like an Edelman.
No.
That's a big difference.
Yeah.
He's just a good route runner.
He's a good route runner.
No, that Edelman is blazing speed.
Blazing speed. Well, had good hands, too.
Good hands, shifty.
One of the
fast, but blazing speed.
One of the greatest receptions you've ever seen in a game, let alone a Super Bowl, against Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Right after, what's his name? The wide receiver out of Alabama made that terrific catch off the sidelines. You guys remember what I'm talking about?
I turned off most of the Patriots Super Bowls.
No. This was for the Falcons. He played for the Falcons.
Right, against the Patriots.
In the Super Bowl. It was the year that the Falcons lost a 28-point deficit. But he was a marquee wide receiver forever.
Wait, Ridley?
No, before Calvin Ridley.
Oh, Julio Jones.
Julio Jones.
Yeah. Julio Jones.
Made an amazing catch. I mean, like one of the greatest catches ever. And then the next series, Edelman makes an amazing catch
Mhm.
to save the drive, to score a touchdown. Or maybe that would have been a field goal to win the game. But anyway, I digress. We'll come back. I think it's unfair to Amari because he played with Derek Carr, who I don't think is as good as people said he was going to be or thought he was going to be. Davante Adams is a unicorn. He's like DeAndre Hopkins. Bad quarterback will look like a good quarterback.
Mhm.
All you got to do is throw it within 15 feet of his circumference, of his area, and he'll figure out a way to get it.
They also did have a little bit of chemistry from college. I believe Derek Carr and Adams played on the same team in college.
Good point.
But I still agree. Davante Adams is an elite wide receiver. He is one of the best in the league. We'll see if he can maintain it. I mean, now we've got
Jimmy G.
Jimmy G. All right.
And he doesn't throw the ball down the field. I don't think Davante Adams is going to have a good season.
And I don't think so either.
Ooh.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think so either. And that's where the receiver is now dependent on the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And Derek Carr is now playing for the Saints. So that was my reservation with Chris Olave because he looks like he's an upcoming potential Davante Adams.
I think he's going to benefit having Carr there because Carr doesn't mind throwing it down the field, whereas Jimmy G does not. So I think Olave is going to have a good year.
Oh, okay. That makes me feel better.
I mean, that's
You're
what I
setting me
think.
up.
But I mean, he's going to have a better year than. Well, I don't want to say he's going to have a better year than Davante Adams.
But here's the
that's
other.
hard to say. But that's like
we will put it on the record and rub it in your face next year.
Olave had a good season last year with
Mhm.
Jameis Winston and I forget who else was that quarterback there. Taysom Hill. Poor Taysom Hill, man. Did everything the organization asked for him. Got to play. He didn't get a full year at quarterback, but obviously didn't prove that he's the quarterback guy.
Right. Yeah.
But Olave still did well with questionable quarterbacks, you could argue.
Mhm.
Derek Carr might be a step up, so he might benefit from that. But at the same time, the reservation that I'm talking about, who's coming back to play for the Saints? Michael Thomas.
Is he coming back to play or is he coming back to?
He's playing, and he gets hurt a lot, but he hasn't played in like 3-4 years.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much of a threat he's going to be, but even still.
I'm not touching Michael Thomas.
I'm surprised nobody's talking about the Cardinals. They are screwed.
We'll get there. We'll get there. We're moving around the league. Okay, so Chris Olave doesn't sound like you guys mind that pick at all. You think Derek Carr is not that big of an issue, and Michael Thomas apparently. I know how you feel about it. You explain why you feel that way about Michael Thomas.
I mean, we've seen it for the last few years now, but he was great for years, and I always wanted to have him on my team. And then as soon as I got him, all of this bullshit started.
I feel like he was good for 2 or 3 years.
He's been slugging guys in practice. His attitude, I think his attitude is the biggest problem. I don't think it's necessarily his health or his injury proneness. I think it's his attitude. I think he's probably played his share in the league. Be it whether it's pressure from the league, pressure from the teams, the owners, organizations. I just think he's kind of done.
So why keep him on the roster? Why not trade him?
Oh, he's
Still got some value, right?
Well, because of name recognition and remembering those good years, you're hoping that he's going to come back and produce like that. I think that's why they've been keeping him around. But I think you're right. He handled success. Success can be easy to handle. It's after he got hurt, I think, is when all the problems really kind of started, and he hasn't been able to come back, and he's probably frustrated as hell.
Fell apart, and he's going to be in a coaching system that's way different than the system that helped him out and Sean Payton.
Mm-hmm.
But now let's switch gears. I don't think it's fair for Amari Cooper because he played with Derek Carr, didn't do well, looked like he was a draft bust, goes to Dallas, plays with Prescott, tore it up before CeeDee Lamb even got there. Tore it up. CeeDee Lamb started to emerge. Dallas is kind of like, oh, I don't think we need both of them. We'll just trade Amari Cooper. Because CeeDee Lamb's the younger guy.
Yep.
He goes to Cleveland, and the end of Baker Mayfield's career, the start of Deshaun Watson's career, and at that time it was uncertain whether Deshaun would even play. Then he gets suspended for a majority of the year. So is Deshaun Watson the Watson of old? And if he is, I would say Amari Cooper will have a good season.
I say give him a season maybe, and if he's not good by then, I don't.
Do you draft him? Do you draft Amari Cooper and take that risk? That's the question.
Were you for fantasy? No.
So don't take that risk. But I think Deshaun. You think Deshaun will have a legit top 10, top 15 year?
Not.
Who's the other wide receiver on the other side? People Jones? Does he have the weapons? Does he have the? I mean,
that's a great.
They're going to use Njoku like they should.
Oh man, I
love Peoples Jones. Njoku is good too, so I think he does have weapons. I don't know that much about their offensive line. Their running game is good, and I don't know about that much about their defense either. So I think he's set up for success, decently.
Okay. And I think Deshaun Watson is a great quarterback. We'll have, like you said, we'll have to wait and see if that chemistry is there. Because he did come back late in the year last year. I'm trying to remember if I had Cooper on my team last year or not, if it was the year before. But I felt like he did decent when I had him. That might have been 2 years ago.
To answer your question, they do have Donovan Peoples-Jones, who looks like he's a big-bodied wide receiver. But this is going to be a lot of fun. They acquired Elijah Moore.
Oh, that's right.
From the Jets.
From the Jets, yeah.
So he didn't like the Jets organization last year. Remember, he was pushing for a trade me, and they didn't do it. Now he's playing for Cleveland. He's the number 2. So he is going to be a high risk, high reward, potentially, under Deshaun Watson.
I'll tell you, I've got a problem with these guys that have a problem with their team, especially their first team. Like, you just got drafted into the NFL. You're playing professional football. What are you unhappy about? Why can't you get along with the right people, with enough people where you're at to at least make a name for yourself? So I'm not taking Elijah Moore, especially not on Cleveland, the Cleveland Browns. That's too many strikes for me.
Do you like Garrett Wilson?
Garrett Wilson, I do.
Okay, last year he bitched and moaned about quarterback, just like Elijah Moore did. When they put in Mike White, they were happy. When they took Mike White out for Wilson, they got pissed and bitched about it. They're both, I would say it remains to be seen on Elijah Moore, but Garrett Wilson was a rookie. Yeah. He's like, I'm a talented wide receiver. I'm going to be good. Chip on the shoulder, okay? Let's not forget that. Wants to compete. He doesn't want to just play and win.
Yeah.
Play and get paid. He wants to fucking win. And he's pissed because he doesn't have a quarterback that can throw the ball to probably because he's like like cornerbacks, they want the ball themselves. You can't get the ball to me. So I'm going to give Elijah Moore a little leeway there because he got drafted. He's I think it's like 4th or 5th year. And tell me the last time they had a good. I don't think it's his 4th or 5th year. I think it's maybe his 3rd year. Third year? But
yeah.
Besides Aaron Rodgers. And then they get Aaron Rodgers, and he's probably like, oh, yeah, things are looking up. Trade.
See ya.
I feel bad for Zach Wilson and Mac Jones, and I think Zach Wilson, they both want it very much. And Mac Jones is inevitably going to be either replaced by a rookie next season or by, what's his name, Zappe?
You're Zappe, yeah.
Yeah, but Aaron Rodgers is a miracle for Zach Wilson, and if he does not take the chance to learn from him as much as he can while Rodgers is still there, then he's done. But if he does learn from him, I think he will be a great quarterback.
Well, I like the point you brought up, but you just broke Israel's heart. You crushed Israel over there because he would like to see.
I did. I had to wipe away a tear, actually.
Like to see Jones. No, I think you said it's like, so they drafted Zach Wilson as their number 1 draft pick like 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. He doesn't pan out. They bring in a veteran, and what if Rodgers can develop him into the number 1 draft pick that he could be? Because I think that quarterbacks do benefit from sitting on the bench for a couple of years learning. Mm-hmm. and Zach Wilson's given that opportunity. So Rodgers retires out. Now you have a very good quarterback, or good, maybe not as great as Rodgers, but a good quarterback in Zach Wilson. And then you bring a young guy in and just keep that cycle going, like all the great organizations do. Mm-hmm. But I want to go back to Deshaun Watson, Elijah Moore.
Yeah. I'm not betting on Elijah Moore. Okay. Again, this is going to be his third season. You say Garrett Wilson was bitching, maybe he was, but he was also producing really well. He looked good.
This is why you never bring your computer to the.
Hey, I'm waiting to drive Southwest Florida's fastest or whatever. Kia.
Anyway, yeah, go ahead. Garrett Wilson proved himself last year.
Garrett Wilson proved himself with a bad quarterback. He might have had some things to say about it, and that's fine. But Elijah Moore, bitched and complained and didn't do anything.
He bitched and complained, but he was also benched.
Walked his way out. Yeah,
he was benched by the coach. He was told they're not going to trade him, and then what they did was they chose not to play him. So that's outside of his control.
Now, Garrett Wilson didn't ask to be traded. Garrett Wilson didn't, throw such a big stink that he wound up on the bench. Garrett Wilson went out and took the damn job.
But he bitched and
that's
complained.
What I like. And that's what I like about him.
My point is he bitched and complained and got an opportunity to show what he could do. Elijah Moore bitched and complained and wasn't even allowed to play to show what he could do. Why? Because he was asking for a trade. Garrett Wilson didn't ask for a trade. The guy shows what he can do. All of a sudden, that trade possibility, we all Jonathan Taylor is in that same boat. Mm-hmm. He's not happy with the contract. He's bitching and complaining about it too. Pressuring for a trade. Name recognition, showing what he can do, forced to trade. Elijah Moore doesn't even get to play, can't show what he can do, can't really force a trade. But he may have been in a good situation because if he's going to succeed and be the receiver he says he can be, he will show that with a good. You got to say Deshaun Watson's got to be in the top 20, right?
I would think so. Like what I remember about him, before he was suspended and everything for so long, had all that trouble. Arm strength is ridiculous. He's a bit of a gunslinger, though. I mean, he'll throw it up there and he gets intercepted. But he's kind of that hybrid as well, where he can tuck the ball and get some yardage with his feet. It's going to be interesting to see now that he's kind of back. He'll be in football shape from the get-go, and he's already played with Cooper for part of the year, and now with Moore in there, that could change the offense. They could become
and Nick Chubb in the backfield.
Yeah.
They lose Hunt. I think that hurts them. Honestly,
where did Hunt go?
Hunt hasn't signed yet.
He hasn't signed yet.
He's still shopping.
Oh, really?
I think that.
Welcome to New England.
I think that Deshaun and Elijah Moore aren't probably not going to have a good season right away. I think the season after this one, if they don't do good this season, I think you draft a new quarterback, having learned from Watson's mistakes, because mistakes are inevitable, and maybe learn from his success as well, and just keep on going.
Yeah, I think we talked about windows earlier, and I think both Cooper's and Deshaun's is starting to close.
But that's what I was going to ask a second ago. Does the time that Watson took off, because remember, he played as a rookie. Mm-hmm. Rodgers played 5 years after he was drafted. Does that time make them better? Is Watson better because he hasn't played in the last couple of years? Hasn't gotten hurt, could just learn how to play. The time that Zach Wilson's going to have off under Rodgers, will that make him better? I think that's a possibility when it comes to quarterback. You can reflect about the mistakes you made, the positions you were put in. You can learn from other players and he may be even better.
Well, and those conversations that he'll get to have with Rodgers about decisions that he makes, like, hey, why did you decide to go here instead of here? He's going to have those conversations and, like you said, those reflections to grow from that he can then apply.
But does Deshaun grow?
Who's the coach in Cleveland?
Couldn't name him. He's a young guy, I believe. And he's been there. It's like his second, third year.
Yeah, I think for Deshaun, he's got plenty of years that he could produce and play well.
Sure.
It is just a matter of, like you said, has he learned? Is he going to be? Is he going to show the football IQ enough? And I think I'd like to think so.
I think quarterback time away to learn is more valuable than it is for any other
I
position.
think you had a patient telling you about this the other day, didn't you?
What's that?
Taking time where you do something and you don't really do it real good, but then you don't do it for a while, and then you try it again and you can actually do it better than you did it before.
That's right.
She was talking about the skip it. I just remember the name of it. The skip it is what we called it. She called it the jingle jump. The thing that goes on your ankle and you swing it around and you step over it. It just hit me as I said it. The skip it. That's what we called it.
Yeah. But I think for quarterback, that makes a difference. Wide receiver, because you could say the same thing about Michael Thomas and Calvin Ridley. I think it actually hurts them.
Yeah, I agree.
Because that window closing, you're talking about that window closing on your speed and on, but a quarterback, I think it literally comes down to brains, to that decision. And not that they don't have brains, but
the brains,
the decisions, the reads, the more you can read, the more you can see, the more you can digest, the better off you are. All right, let's skip from that. Russell Wilson, good year?
Next.
No.
I hope so. I hope he's healed.
I hope so.
Because beyond football player, I have a positive view of him as a human being. So I kind of want to root for him. I don't, when he went to Denver, I was excited for him because I thought that'd be a good chance for him. And then, he played through that injury basically all season. And he wasn't himself, and I think he's getting a lot of, trash talked about him because of it. So I'd like to see him come back, have a good year. Will he be Russell Wilson of old? Probably not, because he's what season is this for him? How long's he been?
Broncos country, let's ride.
He's deep.
Yeah,
him and Kirk Cousins are I've been in it the same length of time.
And watching them play last year, I saw a lot of drops too.
Yeah.
Like Jerry Jeudy, I think, is a talented receiver. But I see him drop the ball a lot. Cortland Sutton, he gets hurt.
Is Sutton somewhere else? I thought he went somewhere else.
No, I think he's still for the Broncos.
He's still in the Broncos?
But so I drafted Russell Wilson because I thought he was going to have a chance to prove that he wasn't a product of Pete Carroll's system and that he could succeed, especially with the weapons that he had. It didn't work. So, and then I heard the same thing. I love this character. But then I've heard a number of times, and I don't know how true this is, that that's a facade. When he's outside the camera, he's a different person, which really shocked the hell out of me. And I don't want to think that way because I do like that character. That being said, I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for him largely because I like to see him succeed because I still think he's a good person. And he's got weapons. But also because we're friends with Coach Mike Westhoff.
I absolutely want to see. Yeah, I think he's going to do better.
He's an assistant head coach
now. The coaching is going to make a huge difference for him in Denver. I'm not going to draft Russell Wilson for my team. I'll let him do what he does on his own. But I'd like to see him do good. I can't wait
till we talk to Coach again because I'm going to bring all this shit up again. Listen, if anybody can help Russell Wilson figure it out.
That's right. Hell yeah.
Give him and help him develop. It's Sean Payton and Mike Westhoff. Mike Westhoff's going to be like, listen here, I know you hurt your shoulder, but I had fucking cancer.
Yeah.
my leg broke so many times. I don't even have all the bone in my leg. This is mostly metal. Listen, Mike Westhoff's going to get him where he needs to go. And then he's going to take him shark fishing. Okay? And scare the shit out of Russell Wilson. No.
That's why we never went shark fishing because Ray was scared as shit of going out on that boat.
Yeah, you don't mess with monsters.
I'll go out there. Let's go.
So, okay, move on from him. I do think that Russell benefited from Pete Carroll's system. And I think Pete Carroll's...
the air on real quick, guys. It's getting real hot in here.
All right. I think Pete Carroll is a better coach than we ever thought. And I think that what you see with Geno Smith, the success that he's had isn't only because of the time he's spent on the bench learning the game, but it's the time that Carroll has spent with him to develop him. And also, Geno Smith is not that different from Russell Wilson when you look at a quarterback that can run, keep the play alive, make the throws down the field to some targets.
Yeah, got the arm.
Yeah. So you agree that maybe that system.
And I mean, Pete Carroll is a great coach. I remember when he was at the Patriots for a couple years, he was kind of the scapegoat. You know, I think
always bring
when
it back to the Patriots.
And you know, and I remember when he left, I thought, why are we getting rid of him? You know, it is what it is. You know, I'm just a fan. I'm not in the front office. But I think he's one of those coaches that, like you said, can develop players. And he does that through relationships. I think he's one of those coaches that knows his guys, you know, and they all love him. You can see it.
Well, maybe Wilson and him may have had some issues, apparently. But I think you're right. Maybe Carroll knows how to push the buttons a little bit to get them to perform a bit better.
And we talk about development.
Yeah.
I think he's one of those coaches that can do that. That can not just, you know, see the talent, say, oh yeah, that's a talented player, but he can see the potential and work with them to get there.
But you look at his history in bringing in quarterbacks from USC. They were all backups. Okay.
I'm surprised that we're not talking about the Broncos defense.
Not yet. We're going to get there.
No.
All right. Is Brock Purdy back?
Yes.
You think the Niners are going to be every bit as good as they were last year, if not better?
I think they're going to be better. I think Brock Purdy is going to come back. I think he is their quarterback. I think he's going to be one of the guys. He may not go elite this year. Maybe I just love an underdog story, but let's go Mr. Irrelevant. You've shown us what you can do. You've got talent around you. You've got coaching behind you. Let's do it.
Is he the new Tom Brady?
Yes.
That's what you're saying?
I want to see new Tom Brady. I don't know. I love the story, I guess. Trey Lance is there, ready to go. Jimmy G's there doing whatever, modeling. And all of a sudden, Brock Purdy comes up and says, listen, you guys can't go. Watch this.
Just slings it.
NFC Championship.
I think Mahomes is the next Brady. I think Purdy is the next, Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
All right.
So one Super Bowl.
At least one Super Bowl.
At least one.
Aaron might get two.
I mean, Aaron has shown so far to be, classic Brett Favre. He's following his footsteps in every single manner. He got one Super Bowl, should have won more, and then he goes to the Jets.
Better than Brett Favre. Won a Super Bowl without a running game, won it without a superior defense.
Say what you want.
Has thrown more touchdowns with less interceptions.
One Super Bowl. Same number of Super Bowls.
Because they never put a team around him.
Same number of Super Bowls.
They never put a team around him. Well, he might win another one with the Jets. If not this year, probably next year. But my point is he's thrown less interceptions than Brett Favre. That's a big difference.
Of course he's thrown less interceptions. Brett Favre holds the record for the most interceptions in the league.
Okay. So I can't argue with that. That's my
Brett
point.
Favre is also on the top of the list of most touchdown passes for a career.
But he's a gunslinger.
For sure.
And Aaron Rodgers is a gunslinger, but he's a little smarter.
A little more careful.
And
Agreed.
very efficient. And you don't know what I'm talking about. Hard Knocks. Great show. All right. So Purdy, potentially the next Tom Brady. That's what you like to see.
I like Brock Purdy. And Tom Brady is in a Tom Brady story. He comes up from nowhere, off the bench, takes a team to, Tom Brady won the Super Bowl. But
so we got to tell that story. So Coach Mike Westhoff, the game that knocked out Drew Bledsoe was against the Jets.
Yes, it was.
That's right. Mike Westhoff was on that coaching staff. He said that right before the game started, the coaches get together, hey, how you doing, blah, blah, blah. They're talking to Belichick, and Belichick says, I'm going to be fucking fired this year. They're like, why? Oh, because we don't have a spit of talent in this team, and it's going to be ugly. We're not going to do well. All right, this is like 2002, 2003, or somewhere around there.
Probably 2002.
It was the first Super Bowl year.
It was 2001. It was after
2001.
September 11th.
Yeah.
So
the 2001, 2002.
they do their, they hey, how you doing? They leave thinking that Belichick, he's pissed because he doesn't have a good team, no talent. And then Bledsoe gets knocked off of the sidelines with an injury. And then Brady comes in and does pretty well, but they still lose the game. And Westhoff says, he looks over at Edwards, I think it was Edwards, at the coaching staff, and I almost simultaneously, they go, who the fuck is that guy? He is good. And then they like walked away, and that was Tom Brady. And Belichick didn't even know what he had until
he was on the field.
Until he won the Super Bowl. Well, I would even say maybe until they won the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But I like to see Brock Purdy do that well. I like that underdog story too. But I think it's going to be hard. Patrick Mahomes he's right now the GOAT.
Patrick is the GOAT, yeah.
And like Tom Brady, he's redefining the game. Don't throw it across the field. Don't throw it across the field. Sidearm. Oh, shit, he made a great play. Don't throw it with your left hand. You're not even left-handed. Don't throw the ball on the run when you're about to get tagged when somebody's at your ankles for a touchdown.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes is just a different breed of quarterback that none of the other guys have shown to have yet. We've got our running and the guys that can run and throw, but Patrick is just an overall magician, like more than anybody's ever shown.
And he
before.
can do one thing that nobody else has ever been able to do as quarterback or any player in the league. I don't know if you've seen this. When he takes his helmet off, his hair pops back up into position, just like it was before he put it on. I don't know how he does that.
He says he's going to have a new hairdo this year.
Oh, I want to see it.
Yeah.
I think the explanation for all this magic is a very well-known fact is baseball.
Baseball.
Without baseball, I don't think he'd be half as good as he is. And his dad played in the MLB. I'm pretty sure he was almost a pitcher in the MLB. So I think baseball is a huge part of it.
Certainly with the different angles of the throwing with the football and stuff. Yeah, definitely. I think you're right about
Yeah,
that.
because I'm pretty sure he's a shortstop. And when you look at the shortstops, they're always like this. It looks like they're throwing sidearm, but they really just bent over.
They're sideways, throw an overhand. They throw it that way because it allows for a rise on the ball. And that's why he can run and throw at the same time. Because what does the shortstop have to do? Have to run, throw off the back foot to first base.
Yeah.
So he learned a skill from, his dad was a pitcher. And Mahomes played shortstop. But anyway, moving on from him. Is Kyle Murray going to have a good year?
No.
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray.
I'm going to give credit to all the players on the Cardinals for making it to the pros, but they are the worst team in the pros. They are screwed. They don't have a quarterback. They don't have. They got rid of Hopkins. Hopkins is gone. Murray's injured. They are scared. They're done.
What's Murray's injury?
I don't think he has an injury right now.
His feelings.
His feelings.
They're pretty hurt.
I don't know if he has a wide receiver that can make him look like the elite quarterback that he's being paid for.
Yeah.
But DeAndre's also, he played half the year last year. And he's on the downside. And they got rid of their coach, Kingsbury. Is it Kingsbury?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought he did a good job.
I can only think of 2 players on that team.
Yeah. And I feel bad for Connor because I think he's going downhill too.
Because he's the only other one I can think of. But he doesn't have a team around him either.
Right.
I think they're just like the Dolphins used to be. Right after that Marino era, they just went downhill. It took them that long to get back up and get to the playoffs. Think about it took like 30 years for them to get to another playoff appearance. Am I right?
It was before you were born.
That was a great 30 years.
Good for you, yeah. All right, let's move on to wide receivers. We don't have to relive it or anything like that. We know Tyreek Hill is going to be good. Is he first round draft worthy for fantasy?
First round draft worthy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Waddle.
Second round.
Second round.
Yeah, early pick. Yeah.
I think Waddle has a better year this year too.
I think Waddle's going to be the guy that gets the receptions, the targets. And I think he's the guy that's going to catch and bring him down and then make plays. Tyreek is just going to make plays. I mean, he's going to
Sure.
be wide open all the time, as usual.
Well, he only has 1 or 2 more years left before he's done. He's
Yeah.
already said it.
I think he said he's retiring like after this season.
So, Mike Evans.
Ooh.
Well, that all depends on Baker, I think.
No, it depends on Baker, but where is he in the draft?
Mm.
His stock has fallen.
Yeah, Mike Evans is going to be is way down there.
He's way in the
Yeah,
draft.
if he pops up after I've got everything I need,
right.
you know, that might be the old dark horse pick.
What about Godwin?
Same.
Yeah.
I don't really trust the Tampa Bay offense.
Quarterback situation.
Yeah.
Calvin Ridley's in the top 10 for the wide receivers. Is that justified? Coming off of a 2-year layoff?
I think not so much.
I don't know about top 10, maybe top 15. I know that now that's nitpicky, but I think he can play. Like he's fast, he's got great hands, and I just don't think he was in a really good position the last couple of years. I think this is going to be a good year for him.
I think Peterson got a steal with him,
Absolutely,
and he'll make or break them. In my opinion, I think he'll have a good year and revitalize that organization. But if he doesn't, if he's a bust, it's almost just like starting over. What do you think?
I think he does well. I don't know if he's going to put up top 10 numbers. He might be close, like you said, top 15, maybe top 20. But I do think he does a pretty good job this year. I think he handled everything the right way, taking time off. Of course, he had to get ahead of his potential suspension for gambling. But
Yep.
I still think I like that move. Step down, take the time.
Thielen. He's now with the Panthers.
I think it all depends on Bryce Young. I think Miles Sanders is going to be okay. I just think that they're from all different teams. It's an entirely new lineup. I think they just got to get used to each other. Bryce Young, it's his first year. And Thielen is he's used to playing with Cousins. I don't know.
If he's playing in the slot with those I think those short, quick catches, and I think that is usually good for a young quarterback. So, we might see a little bit of a resurgence for him, depending. And I'm a huge Miles Sanders fan. I'm glad he is out of Philly.
I think he'll get more touches. I think they're going to rely on him more.
Yep.
But I think losing DJ Moore was a big miss. And I don't know if Adam Thielen's going to be the Thielen of old.
I agree. I don't think Thielen's going to be the Thielen of old. I don't think he's going to have a significant amount of touchdowns, but I think he's going to get some catches. I think he's going to be a good receiver for Bryce Young to play with because he's a veteran. He's very smart, and he knows how to help the quarterback out. And I think that's his best value.
Where are you at on Drake London? You had him last year. You like him this year?
Oh, man. That's a tough one. I don't really know what to think of them. Who's their quarterback now?
Marcus Mariota.
No, Mariota's on the Eagles.
No, it's Ritter.
Yeah, it's
Desmond Ritter.
Desmond Ritter.
And they drafted a younger quarterback too, I believe. Or they brought another one. But I think they're going to go with Ritter this year.
Yeah, I did not see what I wanted to see out of London last year. I was hopeful that with anybody throwing the ball, he would have been a standout. Same thing with their tight end. I just don't know what the hell is going on down there in Atlanta.
Pitts gets hurt. London, I think he had some good games, didn't he?
Had some good games, but not enough.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not a high draft prospect. I don't think Pitts is either. The first year coming out of college, he was a high draft pick.
Yeah.
And I never saw that. But because I didn't trust the quarterback. Marcus Mariota, I think he was a bust.
The Falcons in general are just going to be like last year. It's not going to be not going to be anything new, even with Bijan, unless he turns out to be a stud right away.
They've got him ranked in the top 10. Bijan, a rookie running back.
Rookie running back.
On a
Out of
very
Texas.
run-heavy team.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just automatically placing him at the top of their depth chart
Yep.
and going to run the heck out of him, apparently. But they've still got, Cordero Patterson.
Yep.
They've still got another running back. I forgot who.
I was hoping you would mention.
Aguilar.
I was hoping you wouldn't mention Cordero Patterson because he might still be a sleeping fantasy option off the waiver wire.
Yeah, I think with everything that's going on now in Atlanta, he's gotten older. They do have a new rookie, plus Algier last year. Tyler Algier looked really good. So he might have some value at some point, but I late round draft.
All right, so is George Pickens going to be a good pick?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Got some feelings for Pickens.
Him and what's the quarterback's name? Pickett.
Kenny Pickett.
Pickett is going to be the next. What am I thinking of?
Antonio?
No, not Antonio. I'm talking about Kenny Pickett and
Kenny
Pickett and George Pickens are going to be a great duo. I think they are going to be better eventually. Not this season. I think eventually they're going to be better than the Kyle Murray and DeAndre Hopkins duo.
He's a young kid. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Hey!
Stop telling everybody our strategy. It's okay to talk about this, but you have to wait until after we draft. I wanted to go to that, though, actually. He brought up DeAndre Hopkins. He's out of the first round.
Right.
You say?
Right.
I don't know why he chose to go to Tennessee because I thought he could have a choice in his teams, and he would have. I thought it made sense for him to go to Cleveland. Amari Cooper, DeAndre Hopkins,
Elijah Moore,
right? With Deshaun Watson, a quarterback he knew and could pick up a system, but he went with Tanny Boy and King Henry. Does he have? I still think he's a great wide receiver.
I think he's going to have a few good games, hopefully more, but I don't know.
They don't have anybody else to throw the ball to in Tennessee.
No.
Well, I think that's why he chose to go there.
Might be.
Personally, I thought
he cares about fantasy.
Yeah,
Thank you.
he cares about. He likes to get the ball. He likes to be the one that gets the ball, and I think he decided there because he's like, there's nobody else.
When you're that good, of course, but he got my messages. No, I mean, just imagine. You have King Henry, DeAndre Hopkins. What the hell are you going to do?
My only concern is Tannehill. He's decent. I think he's fallen a little bit. So I think that Will Levis will come in maybe next year and start his career like that.
That's if they're not sold on Malik Willis. But at the same time, he's the type of receiver you don't have to be perfect with.
Right.
Just get the ball within 15 feet of his grasp, and he'll get it. And then he'll make something happen. But okay, so we're still good on him, right?
He's safe to have on your team to start the season.
I was wondering.
I wouldn't give up a lot of picks for him, but
we talked about the Jets a little bit. Who's a receiver for the Giants?
Cricket.
Is that his name? Or is that what you just heard?
Crickets.
I couldn't.
Who are they? Saquon Barkley?
Well, I know they picked up Waller for tight end.
There you go, yep.
Who is the wide receiver?
Cricket is the guy in the stands.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I think they have the same guys from last year, which are like mediocre.
Oh, no. Didn't they get no, Tony's gone. What's his name is gone. He's at KC.
Yeah.
There is somebody, though. I can't think of who it is.
No, I wanted to talk about that. Oh, gosh. He's from Florida. Huh?
Kadarius Toney?
Yeah.
Yeah. How good is Kadarius Toney going to be? Is he KC's new Tyreek Hill?
No, that's Sky Moore. But I think he will.
The guys we like. We got to draft against these guys on a little bit.
Is that 2 O's and an E? More? Write that one down.
Is he trying to throw us off some of the guys over there?
We said it. We said
Kadarius, let's talk about
we want more.
Kadarius Toney.
Kadarius Toney, that's the guy. Is he the new Tyreek Hill? He certainly has talent. There's no doubt about it. I don't know if he can stay on the field all year, though.
Right. I think that's his issue. I think he's injury prone.
And he's with Reed. Reed's going to use that talent.
And that's the thing. With a lot of these guys, we're going to see them. They're going to have games where they're going to just be ridiculous. And then they're going to get hurt and be out for a couple of weeks. And then they'll come back and we'll throw them back in. Like, I think he's one of those types of players you can't. I wouldn't personally take him very early in the draft because of that. He's going to be, on and off the field. That's what my personal belief is.
Now, I also think high risk, high reward. Chicago will move up this year, and I think Fields has a wide receiver roster that he could really benefit from. I think Mooney's going to be. He's comfortable with Mooney. He's Blazer. Throw it down the field. But now he's got Chase Claypool. Chase is a possession receiver. He can play.
He's a big kid too. Like, isn't he like 6'4"?
He's huge. He's kind of like DeAndre Hopkins. Just get it towards him. He'll make it something happen. He'll come up with the ball and he'll make a play afterwards. But aside from that, they not only have Chase and they only have Rooney. They have DJ Moore.
Yeah, I was just going to say DJ Moore's there too.
So if Justin Fields doesn't succeed, you're kind of like, So I think those are some sleepers. Amon-Ra, everybody loves him now. I thought he was good when he came out, but we kind of knew that because we watched him in USC and we had some insight from his uncle about how good he is. I think you're going to see an emergence of Christian Watson. And the person I think that's better than Christian Watson is going to be Romeo Doubs. I'm not saying that because I drafted him last year. If he stays healthy, he's got the speed, he's got the route running ability, and he's got the hands. And I think he's going to help Jordan Love out a lot.
I agree with that.
Listen, I've not seen him play, so I don't know what he can do. But until he proves himself, I'm not going for him.
He proved himself last year with Rodgers. He was the only guy that Rodgers trusted, and besides Alan Lazard. And then he hurt his ankle, and he was pretty much done for the rest of the year as a rookie. He's 6'2", 6'3". He's blazing fast. Christian Watson, everybody gave him a lot of love. They're giving him a lot of love this year too.
Yeah, they are.
But he dropped a lot of passes last year with Rodgers as his quarterback. So Rodgers didn't trust him. Now he's got Jordan Love. He may have made a step up, but I think Romeo Doubs. And I'm just a fan of if you're going to give me Hines Ward, I love Hines Ward. I love the guy that's going to catch it almost every time you throw it to them.
Yeah.
I'd rather have that than somebody who's blazing fast and can't catch. But all right.
Say Hines is probably one of my favorite receivers of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, Jerry Rice, number 1. Hines Ward is probably number 2. God, he could play football.
I love his attitude too.
Yeah.
Like when that man spoke to the media and stuff, and he talked about playing football, loved it.
Oh man! And whenever you needed a clutch play, you're throwing it to Ward. He's gonna make it happen. I appreciate those. I don't think those type of receivers get as much love as they should. All right, moving on from that. Are there any other? Oh, I know you're high on this guy, OBJ.
OBJ, is he still?
How
in the
good
league?
is he going to be?
Is he still playing? Who's he with?
Or where's he at?
Oh, come on. Don't be coy over there.
Oklahoma.
You love it.
Oakland?
He's playing for Baltimore.
Baltimore.
He's going up against Chase and Pickens and Cooper.
I don't know. I love him, but I hate him. I don't know. It's
he ain't coming on my team.
Whenever I have him on my team, he always says crap, and then when he's on somebody else's, he is amazing. So no for me.
I think he was great with the Giants, but I don't trust him on any other team, especially on the Ravens.
Maybe he should go back to the Giants. They've got about 5 receivers on the third page of receivers. I've been looking for them. We got Jalen Hyatt, which looks like they're wide receiver number 1, maybe. Then we go down. I don't even know because I never heard of him. Isaiah Hodgkins. We don't need no stinking Hodgkins. Darius Slayton, who's their veteran now, alongside another veteran that they have here is, oh no, he's not a veteran, but Wan'Dale Robinson coming back for his second year. Sterling Shepard still on the team.
Sterling Shepard, yeah.
Yeah, he's their other veteran there.
Yeah, let's move on from that because we have so much time.
What about? Hold on, wait a minute. What about Juju?
Juju Smith-Schuster?
Yeah,
I was wondering you were going to ask about that.
He's in the Patriots.
He's on the Patriots, yeah.
I see what you're doing.
We got a wide receiver now for Mac to throw to.
I'm pretty sure you had a couple down for the last few years.
We're more about the run game.
You know, that's interesting because the Patriots pick him up, and you saw the Chiefs trade him. They didn't even make a qualm about it. 1 year with them, trade him. Do they know something? Is Juju on the slide down? Was he ever as good as people thought he could have been?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because, well, I mean, I remember he looked good when he was in Pittsburgh.
What was that because of Brown?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got Juju Smith at 111, probably overall. I'm on the wide receivers page. The next, then we've got Jacoby Myers separated by 1 player between Juju and Jacoby, who's now on Las Vegas. And that guy is none other than Michael Thomas.
That's right.
So I'll take either one of those guys, Juju or Jacoby, over Mike Thomas. I'll probably, honestly, I'd probably go with Jacoby.
I don't think you need another receiver. You have Justin Jefferson.
That's an interesting, fair point.
Who's even more of the number 1 guy in a weaker division.
You could draft those other New York wide receivers.
I'm thinking about going for. I mean, I had Wan'Dale last year for a little bit, but yeah, whatever. Danny Dimes, throw me a dozen.
I think it's fair to say that Chase is still the legit number 2, if Joey can stay healthy on the field.
Yeah.
What I want to say is, what the happened to T. Higgins? He was my keeper last year, and I didn't get the value that I thought I was going to get from him.
What, third, second?
He's their second string
guy?
receiver. Yeah, and the guy again. He's a sure-handed wide receiver.
Yeah.
You just got to give him some targets.
Yeah.
And those targets are eaten up by Chase.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Boyd is the third guy, and he's not bad, but he's not going to get the looks.
Yeah, they're just getting the crumbs that are left over.
Yeah.
When you've got such a standout superstar like Jamar Chase, it's going to be hard for you to get the ball around. Before Chase was as good as he is or showed it, I mean, you can use Joey spread the ball around, but now you know that Chase is the guy. It's going to be like if Jamar Chase played for the Chiefs, or when Tyreek Hill was on the Chiefs. Who else? I mean, or Travis Kelce is kind of a different story, but
yeah, but I don't know. Like on the Chiefs, Tyreek Hill was like, who was the next
if
guy?
You're not Tyreek Hill or
who was the next guy that was on the level?
There was all just carousel of guys.
But T. Higgins is not.
One day it's going to be this guy. The next day it's going to be the other guy. Tyreek gets his, and then somebody else is going to get a big game with 2 touchdowns and 100 yards.
I think you put T. Higgins on another team.
Oh yeah,
I think he does very well.
Yeah,
does even more.
Yeah.
Shows it. Go to Jets. Go to the Jets. Oh. Hey, what happened to Metcalf and Keenan Allen? I think Williams is going to surpass Keenan Allen this year, which is strange because he's been in the league for quite some time.
I disagree.
I also
you don't
disagree.
think so? You think Herbert likes Allen?
I think Allen has more because they're both physically about the same. I just think Allen has more. I don't know how to put it.
More upside.
Yeah, but his attitude or work ethic, maybe there's something that he does that makes him.
They
better.
both get hurt at the same rate. But Mike Williams is another. He's a Clemson boy.
Mm-hmm.
He's a possession receiver. He's a Hines Ward kind of guy. And he scores touchdowns. You throw it to him in the end zone, he's coming down with it. Allen, he'll catch you down the field. Then he'll have to get off for the next series because he's hurt.
Yeah, these guys are tough. These guys they're tough to roster. Love them, but they can't. Like they're just not able to put up those numbers throughout the season.
Not dependable.
That's why I wouldn't take him early.
Yeah.
I
Would you
might
take
take him
Metcalf
mid.
early?
I would take Metcalf.
I think he's fallen off. Last year
Sooner
he
than
fell off.
later, but
He actually ended up having a pretty good season last year.
He's in the top 15. I think he does even better this year. I like Tyler Lockett a lot and his blazing speed, but I do like Metcalf. I think he's fast and he's physical and he's big and just a big target. Second year with Geno Smith, I think he does more.
I agree. I think he's gonna have a good year,
You guys
and I
wanna-
think he's more dependable than Keenan Allen as far as injury wise. If we're talking
Metcalf?
yeah.
Yeah.
If we're talking injuries, he's on the field a lot more. He doesn't tend to get hurt. But I'd say Metcalf is probably third round if he falls that way.
Yeah, I think he could be.
Allen's probably. I wouldn't look at him before the fourth or fifth just because of that on-off field. I want to take safe players in the beginning, people that I can count on to be on that field every week.
You know who I thought was going to be a huge player last year for me and very dependable was Debo. How did that work out?
He was on and off, wasn't he?
I mean, I had Russell Wilson, Debo Samuel with a DeAndre Hopkins.
Yep.
And I'm in the bottom of the draft. I mean, terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But
You
I
are
thought,
the bottom of the draft, aren't you?
yeah, but I thought
No,
Debo.
Just at the
He's
top.
one up. He's one up from the
Yeah.
bottom.
Oh.
But Debo, I thought Debo
you're
was
right.
gonna.
Second.
I thought he was gonna have a stellar year last year.
Yeah.
And he didn't because he's the guy who he can run as a running back and
Yeah.
he can catch and he's physical and he's fast and
I don't know how long you can run your running back out of the backfield like that before the league catches on.
Yeah, but that was only 1 year.
Yeah.
He did it the year
Sometimes all
before.
it
I
takes.
think he's gonna get another year.
Well, he's so. I don't know. Debo Samuels is so dynamic,
Right.
and so they use him in a lot of different ways.
And he doesn't get the touches though. He doesn't.
He doesn't always need him though.
Ayuk
because-
looked really good last year too. Plus they added McCaffrey, so
Ayuk started to emerge.
yeah, he looked better. He's better than I thought he was.
Well, also different quarterback, right? You have Jimmy G.
Right.
You're moving away from Trey Lance. So you have quarterbacks that are a little bit more accurate, a little bit more precise. They want those truer receivers. Debo is one of those guys. He got hurt last year, but you don't with Debo. He's another guy you don't have to be perfect with. He'll catch it.
And I think Ayuk is like a Debo light. He can do similar stuff. He's shifty. You can use him in different places. I think he drops the ball a little bit more, but I think he emerged more of a team player last year because that first or second year, is this his third year in or his fourth?
Debo, I think it's his fourth.
What about Ayuk?
I want to say
third?
that's also like his fourth. I want to say third or fourth.
Yeah,
Either-
I think they're separated by a year, but I think I felt like he was unhappy in the beginning, and that remember he got benched for a while.
Ayuk.
Yeah. And
Well, I mean, think about it. They're young receivers coming out of college. They want to play. And this is the example I was talking about with the Jets. They want to win. They don't want to just play and get paid. And they don't have a quarterback that can throw the ball to them.
yeah, and I think he was a bit immature, and he probably voiced his concerns in a way that pissed some people off. So they're like, hey, you need to sit down on the bench until you learn how to be a team player. And I think that happened last year. I think he kind of matured.
Kind of. I'm going to go. I think it's interesting. You just made me think of something. We're talking about coaches who are very player specific. They're only going to play their guys. Quarterbacks
This is
can be
Ayuk's
like that
third
too.
year.
This is what?
His third year.
Quarterbacks are the same way, right? Rodgers looks like he's that kind of guy. He either trusts you or he doesn't.
Yeah.
Garoppolo, I think, might be that same guy. Because Debo did very well when Garoppolo was quarterbacking that team. The moment they brought in Trey Lance and Purdy, that's when you saw the emergence. You saw less Kittle, less Debo, more Ayuk. And then also they brought in CMC. And then, without a Garoppolo throwing the ball to just Debo or Kittle, you're going to see it spread around more often, which is
there's
good. Good for them because that's what a good quarterback does.
Right, and there's a lot of mouths to feed in San Francisco.
Yeah.
I mean,
They're not concerned about fantasy football. I'll tell you, they want to win the Super Bowl, so they're not going to do us. They're not going to hand us any favors and say, "Yeah, we're going to use Debo like crazy." They're going to use them all. The only one I think honestly is going to be McCaffrey until he gets hurt.
Maybe that was
Hopefully
one of the
he
problems.
stays healthy.
Maybe that was one of the problems. They didn't use Debo enough, where he could have been that dynamic player to to get more yards and score.
Yeah.
Maybe, but okay, so you said you're going to get Hunter Renfrow. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do. He's probably going
Later
back for
on.
Gabe Davis.
Please.
Well, I mean, he had a bad year last year, but I'd be swinging back.
You're going
around.
to pick up Braxton Berrios because he plays for the Dolphins now, right?
No, he's like their fourth string. No, I'm not doing that. But I feel like Gabe Davis is one of those guys where if you need him, he'll show up. He's not going to get as many targets as you want him to, but I think he's still reliable.
I needed him a lot last year and was not given very much
No, you
in the need.
All right, so we know CMC is going to be at the top of the chart. Austin's going to be at the top of the chart. Who comes after that?
Henry.
Henry?
King Henry, yeah.
King Henry. Even though King Henry
I mean,
doesn't catch the ball very much.
He's ranked number 10, and I'm surprised that Bijan Robinson is above him. I mean, that's a very bold statement. I feel like Henry will run the ball till his legs fall off, and he will pile through guys like a derby, whatever. I don't know.
Like a plow, like a truck. I think you're right.
Who's got Derrick Henry at 18?
I do not understand. Yeah, they don't have him very high right now. I think it's because of that foot injury.
Yeah.
And when you're dealing with the foot, for wide receivers, tight ends, and running backs, you're kind of like, crap, Liz Frank, right? But my question is, Bijan Robinson, is he that good? Because he's number 3. He's the guy that's behind.
I'm afraid that's what I'm going to be looking at with the 7th pick when it comes around. Like, Jesus, Bijan.
You're going to be our guinea pig.
I'm sorry. In the second round. You're right. You're right. So yes, I've got Jefferson at 7, coming around. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14th pick. With the 14th pick, I'm going to be looking at Bijan. Like, really, is this the guy? This is the top name on the list. He's been skipped over twice. Is this the guy?
I think he'll go 50-50. He can go either he's a stud and that will really boost Atlanta, and if he doesn't, I feel like he'll just be one of those players that goes high in the draft and falls out in the league.
Is Atlanta a running back by committee?
Right now they are. But
are they?
I don't understand it. So I'm looking at ESPN's fantasy cheat sheet, and I don't like it. I don't like a rookie coming in and he's in the top 5,
being so high,
top 10.
Yeah.
For a team that is not going to be that good. Even in that division, Tampa's going to be better. The Saints are going to be better.
They're praising their defense. They're praising Atlanta's defense.
Yeah, they can praise them all they want. That's not the running game. But he's ranked over Saquon. He's ranked over Saquon Barkley, which we just couldn't name a receiver, so that's all that Giants have.
Yep.
Over Derrick Henry, Tony Pollard, who doesn't have an Ezekiel Elliott now.
Nick Chubb.
Over Nick Chubb. They lost Hunt. How the hell do you do that? Nick Chubb. Okay? And also they put him over Joe Mixon, Etienne. I just don't get it. I see 10, 15 players that I would choose over him.
I'll take Etienne with the 14th pick.
I think you're reading my mind. I think he's going to do. Listen, Peterson will run by committee as well.
For the sake of my team's name,
Peterson's going to run by committee, and it could be that Etienne. Same thing happens to Etienne this year that it did last year. He gets you to the goal line, but doesn't get you into the end zone. Mm-hmm. They go with somebody else.
They give it to Tank.
They give it to Tank or McNasty.
It's going to be Travis.
So I hope so, but I think he could have that. I think he could move up. Into
I think he has.
echelon.
I think he has his breakout year this year.
And
I do.
I'll be honest with you, Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb has been like handcuffed because they've had a really good two-back system for the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's all by himself.
I'm a little bit weary of Nick Chubb, being that he's now the only guy. Like
Injuries that we're thinking of.
Yeah.
Injury,
More
age,
touches, more hits.
coming up.
This is going to be hard because Saquon Barkley, I think, is out to prove something, and they're going to use him like crazy. I think Josh Jacobs also is going to prove something. I'm just worried about him playing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm worried about the coaches playing him.
I would like to see
Jacobs.
Barkley prove that he could stay on the field for a whole year.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's what he needs to prove.
He did it enough last year. If you had him, you did well in fantasy. I think Najee Harris is going to be better because I think the Steelers are going to be better overall. I do. I think the Steelers are going to be better overall. Second-year quarterback. Yeah. They've got Pickens.
I would take Najee first round.
No, not a first round. Do you guys like Jamar Gibbs?
He's another rookie, right?
A rookie. He's ranked in the top 15.
Jameer Gibbs is a rookie?
Jameer Gibbs is a rookie.
Where's he at?
He's at Detroit.
Oh,
they got rid of Jamal Williams.
They got rid of Jamal Williams. That's right.
Swift.
Mm-hmm.
DeAndre Swift, I'm going to just say right now, I think he's going to have a great year. I think Sirianni is going to use him well. And I think his schemes, his system will only amplify what DeAndre Swift can do. The question is, can he stay healthy on the field? And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know if he has a chip on his shoulder, but I almost feel like he should.
Mm-hmm.
I almost feel like he should because he did well with the Lions, an organization who needs guys like that, but never ever appreciates them. So I think the Eagles are better because they have DeAndre.
And while we're talking about the Lions, I think they're just gonna within 2 years. I feel like they're gonna win an NFC championship. They are going to steadily increase. They're going to climb that mountain.
That's bold.
That might even be a more bold statement than he made earlier about the Mahomes stuff.
But I'm sticking with it.
Okay. Okay. I mean, so you've got them winning their division, which I think is doable. I think I would say that the Vikings are going to be a little bit less than they were last year. And let's be honest, they won a lot of games and very close games. Because
they lose Cook.
They lost Cook. Maybe the fans are right about Cousins. I don't know. They've got the best receiver in the game.
The fans don't appreciate him.
They don't.
He is what he is. Mm-hmm. He doesn't hide anything. He tries his butt off.
Yeah, I like him. I do like him, and I'd like to see him still do well.
I'll take him.
I'd like to see him still do well.
Hey, you guys can have Baker. I'll take Cousins all day long.
That's a good trade.
I think once you shut down Jefferson, you got a highway to a blowout.
If you can shut down Jefferson.
If you can, yeah.
I don't know, because I think Madison put up numbers similar to Cook. Yeah. So did they really lose the production? And they got a rookie running back that they like too now.
Mm-hmm. So then you're looking at the Bears, which could be a hit, and they could be a dumpster fire. Who knows? And then you've got the Packers, who also could be better than thought. Could be absolutely terrible.
Aaron Jones. We're talking about players sliding down. You said that you felt like he's kind of coming downhill. Is Aaron Jones as good? Is he going to play at the level that he's played at when we started fantasy, where he was electric? Or was that partly because of Rodgers?
I think they're going to lean on him a lot this year.
They have to. Him and Dylan.
Mm-hmm. I think those two are going to have good years.
But he's the same as we're talking about Jacksonville. He'll get you close to the end zone. Then they're going to use Dylan to score. Mm-hmm. So is he a safe draft?
I think so, because he doesn't get hurt very often. He's on the field a lot, and he gets the volume. I think he'd be a safe, early-ish rounds. I mean, I'm not talking first or second, but, third, fourth, fifth, if he's around, I think he'd be a good pickup, because I do think they're going to lean on him a lot this year, him and Dylan. So I think we might see his numbers go up.
I don't know. I do not like the offensive line on that team. I mean, they made it to the NFL. Congrats, like I said earlier. But I mean, the whole team was lagging last season, and towards the end, they were just looked like they didn't get any sleep the night before. I don't know. I don't think so.
Hey boys, Brees Hall is in the top 20. Is that fair?
Yes.
Brees Hall's good.
Top 20 though, coming off of ACL.
I mean,
Who's his backup?
His backup will probably be Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
Michael Carter, Zonovan Knight.
Yeah.
he looked like a league winner last year. If you
Most
had
certainly.
him, you were looking at the title until he got hurt.
So is he in the top 20?
I think you pick him up on the waiver wire because with the ACL, you're gonna use
ain't
value,
making it
but
to
he's
the
He
not
ain't
gonna.
making it to the waiver wire.
He's not gonna play.
He's not going to the waiver
He's
wire.
not going to the waiver wire.
Maybe.
If you're picking him early, you're probably picking him to stash toward the second half of the season. Because they're going to definitely roll with Cook to start the season and let him slowly come back in there.
Mhm.
Top 20 pick, that's tough. But again, you're saving for the championship. Like I said, last year he looked like a league winner. This year, maybe he is. Maybe he is your league winner. So if that's your plan, if you were able to keep somebody later in the late with value, then Brees Hall might be your guy to pick up in that first 2 rounds and then stash him.
And we've seen this happen where people pick up somebody saying, well, they're good. They take them in those early rounds, whether it's a suspension or injury, and it just doesn't pan out. I wouldn't take Brees Hall within the top 20. So, I wouldn't take him in the first 2 rounds just because we don't know.
But this is what's crazy. Dalvin Cook is ranked the 30th player.
Which is ridiculous.
Brees
I
is the 17th. Dalvin Cook is going to play week 1.
Yeah.
Brees, we don't even know if he's going to be able to play fully because of his ACL. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
I think it's a safer pick to get Dalvin, like you said,
Yeah.
maybe in the later rounds, and then come back to Brees Hall.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at the running back list or the overall list there.
Running back list.
Okay.
ESPN PPR League fantasy sheet. Also, another guy, Javonte Williams for Denver. No Melvin Gordon. He's gone.
Mm-hmm.
But
Coming off ACL.
Williams is coming off ACL.
Yeah. I mean, he had one, wasn't his whole leg almost detached? He only had one tendon left on it.
And
that
guess
whole
what?
thing happened.
He's ranked number 25.
That's crazy.
5 spots above Cook.
I don't like anybody from the Broncos in general. I'm not saying that they're a bad team. I'm just saying that I don't think they'll be able to support themselves. Not going to be likely he's going to do good. I think it's going to be a repeat of last season. My bad, Mike. Sorry.
Do you boys trust Cam Akers or Montgomery? Montgomery's with Detroit. Akers is going to be the number one guy for the Rams.
No, I don't trust Cam Akers as far as I could throw him. Montgomery, I would take a shot on him at him late if he's there.
I think James Cook will be a good late pickup. I think he will do well. I think Buffalo, I think they feel like they have something in him, and that's why they let Devin and Zach go.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit bigger than Singletary, isn't he? But he has the same skill set. I think I picked him up last year because I wanted to stash him because I thought he was going to do well, and he ended up doing well, but I had to get rid of him at some point because I needed wide receivers or something. That's why I'm picking number 3.
I think James is a good pick because last season they went with the passing game. They got to the playoffs, yeah, but now Stefan's mad. They don't have a very they'll have a decent passing game, but I feel like they'll be able to have a great running game with him.
Waiting for me.
Well, he just received the mic.
That's true. I don't know if I trust Dobbins. I just don't know. I think James Cook will be very good, actually, for Buffalo. And you know who his cousin is? Dalvin.
Oh, yes. Actually, I did know that.
So there might be something in that water.
Yeah.
So, and he's young.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Dalvin played right away. James got a year to learn in the running back room. Those boys are gone. He's stepping in the big shoes in a very tough division. The problem with him is he's playing against some strong defenses in that division. That's the problem. And he's playing against quarterbacks that want to throw with good receivers. So the question will be, is Buffalo ahead or are they behind? Because that's going to determine his touches.
Yeah.
All right, Israel. Elijah Moore.
Elijah Moore or Elijah Mitchell?
No, I'm going back to Elijah Moore.
Going back to
No, I'm
Elijah
sorry.
Moore.
Wide receiver, right?
Elijah Mitchell. I
Oh,
apologize.
Mitchell.
Mitchell. I'm high on him
San Francisco's running back behind Christian McCaffrey.
now, but he looked last year. He looked like a top 10 running back.
Nah, he was looking real good
He looked
until he
great.
got hurt.
They all look really good in San Francisco until they get hurt. That's the problem.
That's
Raheem
the one.
Mostert.
Yeah.
Jeff Williams.
No, it's not Mostert. It's Mustard. That's how you say his
yeah.
name.
Well,
He's going to be starting week 1 in Miami. So will you pick him up?
Hey, listen, man. Kyle Shanahan is just like his dad. He knows how to build an offensive line that can run the fuck out of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody you put back there, I'm pretty sure, Israel, you could end up with a 500-yard season if you were running behind them. The problem is you're going to be walking away, or you'll be taken off with a cart.
Yeah.
Yep.
But, I mean, yeah, they all get beat to shit. But is he worth a pick in the draft, or is he a waiver wire? His upside's incredible.
Yeah, his upside is incredible. If this is me and I'm going through, he's there late, like 14, 15, where I'm looking for, now I don't mind the boomer bust that late, I'm taking him and I'm stashing him. And if that way something does happen to McCaffrey, or it turns out they're doing a running back by committee and they're splitting time and he's still getting those yards because he's efficient, then that's, I would take him.
if I've got McCaffrey, I'm looking for Mitchell. I'm looking to back him up if I can. Then absolutely, I think you're taking him. You're probably going to take him a round or two early to handcuff him. Otherwise, without McCaffrey, if he's hanging around and you're just looking to stash somebody, you're looking for that late round value. Yeah, there he is.
I think you take him as late as you can, and like you guys said, those San Francisco running backs get hurt a lot, which means that he'll have a lot of playing time before he gets hurt in the inevitable cycle.
Listen, I have a feeling one of you two are going to have McCaffrey. And that might mean you'll have Mitchell.
I'm thinking about that. What was I going to say? I was going to ask.
2 and 3.
That's right.
Yeah.
One of you two is going to have CMC.
Yeah. I hate to say it, but I think you're right. I don't know. Should we move on to
Alvin Kamara? I want to ask you. Alvin Kamara.
Oh, hold on. At this moment, well, let's come back to Kamara. But do we know where Taylor's going? Do we know where Hunt's going?
We do not.
We don't. Okay. Because those are also two extremely big picks, depending on where they go and if they play. We know Hunt's going to play. He just has to pick a team.
I'm less confident in Hunt wherever he goes. But
he's not first round.
He's not first. No.
He's
neither one of those guys are going to go in the first 2 rounds.
Well,
it might even be 3 or 4 rounds before Taylor gets picked up. But last year did not look good for Taylor. So it wasn't on a good team, but still, great. You had a great year, 1 year. You made it to the NFL. But what can you do now? What are you going to do for me now?
Yeah, I wonder who would even. I mean, there's such a precarious situation because you have to give up a lot. for him. And you have to be a win now team. You almost wonder if the Jets are kind of kicking themselves. They could have got a young Taylor over Cook.
Then you got 2 young running backs that you're paying a ton of money to.
Yeah,
That's
just
a good point.
just didn't need Taylor. I think
wonder-
they're going to be just fine putting Cook in there. He's ready to go. He's
He
good.
can go to Tampa. Well,
Didn't have to get a lot. Didn't have to use a lot for him.
I don't think White's going to do that.
Brees Hall's going to be back.
maybe the Saints go after him.
Maybe. There
Because
you go.
because to come back to
Got to get
Kamara.
somebody with Kamara out for the first 3 games.
Yeah, and is he still the guy that he's always been? Is he still the number like in the first 2 rounds?
A little bit.
He didn't look like it when he was
Not
in
getting
Atlanta.
the
But is
touchdowns
that
like
because
he
he was in Atlanta?
Kamara?
Yeah. Oh, no, wait. What was I thinking? Who went to... I know, but where... Damn, there was somebody. Now I sound stupid.
Oh, I figure I know.
There was somebody that went to Atlanta who was good, but then when he got there, he didn't look that good. This was just a couple years ago. 2 years ago?
Yeah, I think I know.
Are you
you're
thinking of
talking
the other running back from them? Who went? He didn't. I don't think he
No,
went
I
to
know you're talking
Atlanta.
about. He oh gosh, I feel like I know exactly who you're talking about. I feel like he came out away from the Chargers. He was the starter before Austin
Gordon?
Eckler. No, it wasn't. No, that wasn't him. Gosh, but he was a big release, and yeah. Oh gosh.
I know. I'm gonna have to look that up now. Why was I thinking it was Kamara?
Yeah, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Okay.
Kamara suspended for the first 3 games. He's got Derek Carr. I don't know if they have much of anybody else. Pass catching running back. He's still arguably he's still probably top 3, top 4 round pick because 3 games is not a big deal. But is he the Kamara of old?
I think he's going to look better this year than he did last year. They've got another running back in the system to kind of support him the way that I still can't think of his name that was running with him before.
Oh, you know who it was? Todd Gurley.
Yes, that's who I'm thinking.
That's
of.
right before his
Gurley.
career ended.
Yeah.
He was with the Chargers?
No,
he was
he
with
was
LA.
with the Rams, but
Yeah.
he was traded to the Falcons and played for like a year.
Mhm.
And they traded him because they pretty much knew
They
he was
knew.
at the end of his line with his injuries, his knee, and then he retired like a year later.
I just want to say the Saints are the Patriots of the NFC. I think they are only 1 step above the Cardinals. I mean, Derek Carr, I don't have a lot of faith in him. Therefore, I don't think Olave is going to be able to do that much. Kamara is, let's see what he does, and I don't
Give me
think
this
they're
mic. You don't deserve it.
Jamal Williams is your other running back there, coming over from Detroit.
Right.
So
And
I
he's-
think that the
Okay.
2 of them can put together a backfield worthy of rostering.
But he might snipe.
He may be
End zone
the
touches.
touchdown sniper, but
The Saints are definitely going to be better than Atlanta.
No.
I don't know.
You're
Yeah.
right, though,
I don't
about
know
that
either.
tandem because he's the bigger back, Jamal,
Yeah.
right? He's
Yeah.
the kind of the bigger back. And I do remember McAllister. Is that who was with Kamara? It was Kamara and someone else.
He went to the
Ingram? Are you
Ravens.
thinking
Ingram.
Ingram?
Mark
Mark
Ingram.
Ingram, that's right.
Ingram was the guy.
And
The 2
he
of
was
them.
the pounder,
Yep.
and Kamara was the catcher.
But
Of course,
different,
that was with a different. That was Sean
different
Payton's
coaching
offense.
staff. Yeah,
that's true.
And
That's
Kamara
true.
is still a fantasy, he was still a fantasy gem because in the first round because he was a pass catching running back
Yeah.
who could score on a 40, 50-yard run. But he's just so. Is he a guy that you just sleep on then, or a guy that you kind of pick up and stash and like? I don't know. I don't know because as this, where is he even on the rankings?
Who's that?
Kamara.
I got Kamara at number 80 overall.
80?
Yahoo has Kamara at 80 overall. And then 93 is Jamal Williams. But they're only separated by DeAndre Swift, AJ Dillon, and Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson on that running back list. Obviously, these lists, we can look at them and pick them apart all day and say, I don't agree with that, and that's terrible, that's stupid.
I have Kamara at 19.
Because I feel like
Like running
19,
back, running back
Dalvin-
19.
Yeah, and Dalvin Cook is 30.
Wait, you have Kamara at 19? Oh, for
Running back, yeah. All right, let's move on.
They've got him at 31. Yahoo's got him at 31.
Who's that?
Kamara, yeah. We are running out of time here, guys.
I know.
It is 12:34.
So let's quickly go through the last position.
We meet the draft at 1.
We don't need to talk about kickoff, and we don't kickers, and we don't need to talk about defense. Sorry, kickers. We don't need to talk about defense. Nobody drafts defense until like the 17th round.
Yeah. Some of us
tight ends. Tight ends. I do feel that Kelsey could be a number 1 first round draft pick this year again.
Again, yeah.
I do. I mean, he's in another level than the other tight ends. He brings so much value in that spot. To like miss out on him, that's hard. Especially when a lot of the number 1s or the gems are stolen. So like when you get to like the 7th pick, 8th pick, 9th pick, you're like, ooh, I want to go in a different. If I'm not going to get a marquee receiver, running back, I'm going to get a marquee tight end / wide receiver.
I feel like, though, if you're going to pick up Kelsey, why not pick up Mahomes? And, I mean, do you really need Kelsey? You could go Gerald Everett. He's gonna be there later. I mean, you don't
Again,
necessarily
stop
need
telling
him.
them stuff that we've been talking about.
We never even discussed that.
We did. We talked about Everett in our mock drafts. Everett is a good option. He's playing with Herbert. He had a pretty good year at the end, towards the end after he got traded. Yeah, he's like a diamond in the rough. Something a lot.
Yeah, I think tight ends is always a tough.
I'm not going Kittle. I don't even know if he's
I did last year, and that
hard sell. Tight end is a tough one, like you said.
Tight end is a tough one.
But that's what makes Kelsey so special because he's so head and above. I mean, arguably, you could put him in the top 5 for wide receivers.
Yeah.
Arguably. And you know who's getting the ball. The number 1 guy is going to be Kelsey.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from him, I like Andrews. I don't trust him on the field all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think Hawkinson's in a better position. I don't like Waller at 4. He's ranked number 4. And I don't like it because he's in a position where he has to rely on the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't do very well last year. Kyle Pitts is 6. I don't know about that. Pat Freiermuth, I think, does better. Evan Ingram.
And he's much further down.
Yeah. Evan Ingram, I think he does well this year.
You think so?
I think so.
He's going to be explosive.
Doug Peterson, 2 tight ends. Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert, brought in Dallas Goedert, used quite heavily, right?
Mm-hmm.
Njoku might have a very good year.
If they use him like they should, he's athletic as hell. He can catch the ball, and I just don't think they utilize him right.
I completely agree. I don't know about Tyler Higbee. Every year we get all like psyched up about Higbee because he has a lot of potential. And he doesn't. Oh, I've never really been that hyped up on him. But do you guys like Kincaid for Buffalo over Knox? Because he's ranked above Knox.
Who, Kincaid?
Yeah.
What is he, a rookie?
Yeah, he's relatively. Yeah, I think he's like second year.
I think Buffalo's another team that does not utilize their tight ends right. They use them for blockers because you got Allen scurrying around back there. Because they had a tight end. Knox is a really good tight end, and I just don't think they use him.
Knox
used
is
him
still
right.
there.
Yeah, he's still there.
He gets a touchdown a game.
I like Noah Fant. I mean, nobody's gonna be thinking about him till later on. I think he'd be a great tight end, especially with Geno Smith there.
You know who Geno Smith likes to throw to? Noah Fant. So I think that's a good pick.
Mm-hmm.
Big body, good hands, fast. Dolchich, Joe should go for Dolchich. He's been doing well.
Where's Dirty
Looks good.
on this? I don't see him.
And I always fall for the Komet. I always fall into that trap because there's times that dude looks so good.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a good year this year with Fields. To be honest.
And we'll see because there's a lot of mouths to feed there with those wide receivers, but that's something that might open it up for him.
Is Coughlin going to have a breakout season with Rodgers?
No. I think they're going to go more wide receiver than tight end. But it pains me to not see Durham Smythe on here. But I mean, hey, I'm not done. He is better than Mike Gesicki. No offense, Gesicki. He's better because he'll block more. I think he's got the hands. He's a great tight end. And I don't see him on here.
Smythe might be a sleeper because Gesicki's gone.
Yeah, he's in New England now.
And that's what I was going to say. Israel, Hunter Henry, Gesicki. How do you feel about that? Mac Jones. Are you going to revive the Hernandez Gronk era then?
I thought we were going to do that when we got Hunter and Jonnu Smith, and they didn't do that.
Ooh, boys. Oh, shite. Irv Smith Jr.'s in Cincinnati now?
Maybe he is.
I don't know.
He's hyped.
Is he?
He's got a lot of talent. He just got to stay on the field.
Yeah. But Conklin, I don't know. He could find a bit of resurgence because I think he's another one that's an athletic tight end that just wasn't being utilized. We'll have to see what Aaron decides. But Aaron's been known. Well, like we said, Aaron, if you're one of Aaron's guys, you get the ball. So if, early on they built some chemistry and he catches the balls that are thrown to him.
Right.
Aaron, you catch it. Aaron will throw it to you. So that's a possibility.
I got Austin Hooper for Las Vegas.
Hooper.
Does he start to come on strong?
I don't know. He's broken my heart a couple times.
I don't like any of the Las Vegas teams. They just haven't, in the recent years, they just haven't been producing anything. They haven't, like Tyler Higbee, Hooper, the Rams they sucked last year. I hate to say it, but they sucked.
Oh, they did. They were terrible.
I hope your brother, he goes for Otten.
Yeah.
Otten looks like he's going. Okay, yeah, he looks like he's going to be a very talented tight end. He just needs to have somebody throw him the ball. But
what about Mo Alley Cox? Does he?
That name just sounds so salacious. And
When
dirty.
Now that he has a young quarterback, does Cox
Where's
rear
he
his
at?
head?
Where's he at?
He's down. He's like 341 overall.
Oh boy.
But I mean, he's a tight end, so that's not fair. I don't know.
Well, and that's what I'm
it
saying.
is for
Like,
tight end.
so my strategy, I wait on tight ends, unless if I was in like the 8th pick, 7th pick, and stuff, then I'd probably go for Kelsey. But there's such a drop off, and then when you get to like there's like 10 solid tight ends that you can rely on. Kelsey's way above everybody. After
He's
that,
in his own tier.
and after that 10th tight end, it's just a crapshoot.
Yeah.
Just a crapshoot. Well, I think we covered all the positions this year. We did spent a lot of time on it. We have to go do our own draft, which, you might see me at number 1 now that my son's pretty much given up my strategy.
Mm-hmm. How do you spell more? Is it 2 O's? Is it 2 O's with Sky Moore?
It's 3 O's.
You like Sky Moore too. You should go for Kadarius. Appreciate you as always, man. Next year you might be in Japan.
Japan, South Korea, or the Philippines. Those are the 3 places I'm looking at. So
Unless World War III breaks out.
I like to be up close for that type of thing.
I guess so.
It will be my. I'm getting old. I'm
well,
losing chances to kill communists. So,
Are you still going to like football at that point?
yeah,
Okay, I hope so.
absolutely.
All right. So we'll have to figure out how to do that.
Every American should love football. If you don't love football, you're not American. Come on now.
Tell me where this from. I love football. If you don't like football, then fuck you.
Oh, I mean, it's not Talladega Nights, is it?
Yeah.
It is Talladega Nights.
You don't chew Big Red, then fuck you.
Okay. So it's a homage to, but not a direct.
But not a direct
You know who
quote.
likes football?
Gotcha. Yeah.
Who likes Will Ferrell?
Who likes football?
Will Ferrell likes football. I think he's like a Twins fan. Not Twins fan. Jeez, go with baseball. Forget about it.
Whatever.
Right.
Let's wrap this up. Thank you guys. Thank you, Isreal. Thank you, Ray's Kid, for being here. And thank you, other co-hosts who will not be named. And then we'd like to just say thank y'all to the listeners. Hope you enjoyed this podcast. This is one of our funnest ones to do. They're all fun. None of them haven't been fun. But do like us, subscribe, follow everything that we need, comment, we appreciate it. And don't forget, we do have Patreon and do accept support, and 25% of those donations do go to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, the MDA, as well as the Spinal Muscular Atrophy Associations. Anything that I missed?
No, we appreciate everything, guys. Thank you very much. We'll see you at the next one.
Peace.